All right. This is the 4th episode of YAP2ASIA. We're here. We're vibing. We're having a good time. It's still the off season, but there's still a ton to talk about, of course. So, without further ado, we're gonna get right into it. Just quick check in. We should mention we will have a special guest later. Victoria will be joining us to talk about the Game Changers Championship, which she was at in Berlin, but that's a little bit later. First, let's check in with everybody. Sleepy, what's up, man? What are you doing?
Been good. Just I fell sick last week. So we had a company trip with Paperthin, and we were in this villa together, having a good time. And then one by one, every lunch break, every food break we had, one person goes down and skips. So by the time I flew back to Jakarta, I was bedridden. We actually got like super sick.
Was it like food poisoning?
It was like no, it wasn't food. It was more like a flu. And honestly, what I felt like COVID. So it might have been.
It's that time of year.
I thought it was going to be some legendary story of like how Alex dislocated his shoulder.
No. It was super lame. It was just like everybody's like a zombie. I'm not feeling good right now. Sorry, I can't join you guys. That kind of thing.
Dang.
So, but hey, we recovered. Everybody's well, so all good.
Excellent. Yeah. All right. Well, Black and Blue, I hope you're healthy. How have you been?
Yeah, well, I actually did also get sick like 2 weeks ago, maybe, and it also kind of felt like it, but I don't know. I think at this point, like I've had it a few times, so it was fine. But really, I just feel like a bad person because I spent my weekend watching old men get beat up on Saturday morning for one, Mike Tyson.
I see.
And then the next morning, John Jones versus Stipe Miocic, UFC. So 2 old men getting beat up. Not the best, most holistic way to start your morning, but it was unfortunately entertaining to an extent. So
well, I mean, okay, to be fair, guys, he's 58, right, Mr. Mike?
Yeah.
So him holding up for 8 rounds, I think that deserves some credit.
Yeah, we got to see that.
I feel bad for watching, I feel bad for watching. Like, why am I part of this? Why am I part of this?
Yeah.
It's so entertaining, but why?
You're bad and you should feel bad. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, there's so many clips of it now. Like, freaking, there are times like Jake seriously looks scared, like Jake Paul.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I feel like I thought that Tyson just needed one good punch, but I guess he didn't really have it in him. I didn't watch it, to be honest. I never really liked boxing or UFC that much, so I didn't care. Also, I would have had to wake up, and that's not in the esports life. All right,
it was around like lunchtime here, so it was okay for me. And then I've always been a big like fight fan, anyways, and stuff, so it was like
I think I had to stay up really late one night, so it kind of screwed up my sleep schedule because I had to do a rehearsal for an event that I'm going to do online later this week. But yeah, so I just slept through it. Screw that. Not worth making up for.
It was on Netflix, which was surprising.
Oh yeah,
did it crash for you? Wild. Were you having buffering?
It barely worked for everybody. Like
I was
on a Discord
fine.
call with like 5 other people, and all of them were like buffering.
Okay,
mine was like perfectly okay for some reason.
Where were you when you were streaming that, Quack? Singapore or Thailand?
Thailand. I was watching at like 8 a.m. here, all the way from the beginning. So I don't know, it just never stopped.
I was gonna praise the Singapore internet, but I guess not.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Not happening.
Maybe Thai servers just be different.
Maybe
be different, man.
Yeah, because they watch Muay Thai here or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I really want to go to a Muay Thai match sometime, but that's neither here nor there. Quack, what have you been up to? Explain yourself. Your pants are on.
Similarly, now they're on.
Okay.
Little bit of actually boxing, but also watching the whole thing, watching some other stuff as well. We got Game Changers, of course, but also, oh man, Arcane.
Dude, this is gonna become an Arcane podcast because I'm ready.
Second act last night. so it's
No.
like the one thing on my mind, kind of.
Look, this is already a 2-hour podcast. It will become a 4-hour podcast if we talk
Yeah,
about
let's
Arcane.
not.
Not Valorant.
I would love to. I watched it too. I thought it was great. I'll give it that. But
I have a question. Do you guys,
Yeah.
in your respective countries, regions, do you guys also have like a watch party, like an official watch party for Arcane?
Yeah.
Like, are you guys having the event too, like the Jinx Safe House whole thing? Or
They
whatever?
they had something here. I think in Korea as part of. Maybe it was part of G Star. I don't know. I don't pay close attention.
I
Ours
know they have
starts-
it in Thailand.
Yeah.
Singapore's got nothing. As
Really?
far as I'm aware. I don't recall seeing much.
Okay.
You
Oh, they
literally
did
have a
have, like-
Riot office in Singapore.
I
Yeah, I
know,
was gonna say.
Exactly.
with like Piltover and Zon themes throughout the
Themed
offices.
rooms, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Literally just go to the Riot office for the event. That would be
Yeah.
sick, yeah. But yeah, ours is happening next week. Or actually, no, it's this week. Starts on the 22nd.
Really?
Wait, so they're doing like the next 3 episodes? Are they going to do like all of it? Like, 'cause they're doing it
I
in
don't
like
think it's
3
a-
episode chunks.
It's not a watch party per se. It's more like a companion event. Like they're gonna have
Okay.
tournaments and stuff. Because in the game itself, there's like thematics built into the game as like a patch.
Here, it's
So-
literally every weekend they release the episode. There's an actual like watch party.
Oh
with the
damn!
event and
I don't think we
hosting.
have that. No,
And
watch
giveaways and
at your own home. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm way too lazy for that.
Pay for your subscription yourself. I ain't giving you free stuff to watch.
Yeah, it's already on Netflix. I mean, you can watch the fight, then you can watch Arcane. It's called good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. All right.
And feel
Well,
less bad
let's
watching her.
let's see. Yeah, exactly. Well, do you?
Well, different emotions. Sorry.
All right.
What about
Let's get into
Gwangju
it.
and Paperthin?
Wait.
What?
What?
We
What
need
do you want?
updates on your
Juan-
live
Juan-
and
Oh,
Yeah,
Jwandi's
Jwandi's
here. Jwandi. All right. Check in with Jwandi. Jwandi, how are you?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm good. Also, just got sick last week. I don't know why. Like, yeah, climate change or whatever.
Yo.
But yeah, just finished packing. So I'll be flying to Chengdu like tonight.
Damn.
We're on
Okay.
the clock.
Okay. So we'll get to that. We'll get to what you're doing. I think. I assume.
Yes.
You're going to Chengdu for? Yep. Okay, so that is on the docket, but that will be a little bit later. Because first of all, I think we want to talk about GE and the
Oh,
new
yeah.
roster and all the big reveals around our friends from South Asia, Global Esports. Gave us some cool videos. We got a new coach. We got a bunch to talk about. You know what? I want to go to Sleepy first. Sleepy, what's going on with GE? How are we feeling? What's the vibe check here for Global Esports?
Yeah, so I mean, we talked about this last episode. They've kind of went into a different direction nowadays. This time around, with a majority Filipino roster, which made Nico here very happy. As you can see. And I'm feeling pretty good about what they have up their sleeves. I feel this Filipino core have always been strong. We've been watching some of their players since like their ascension times as well. And we were so hyped and pumped about Papi Chulo finally being ascended to Tier 1 now. And so I'm expecting all the good stuff, to be honest. And I do think, like, having the experiences that they've had in the past 2 years, they've got to know that something is up, something is not working. And given that time, I feel like it's about time they fix those mistakes and correct the wrongs, right? So I'm just trying to be optimistic as well for them, because if not, then it's gonna be pretty bad news next year if they don't perform. Yeah, I get high hopes, and it's looking like they're actually gonna play very, very soon. Like soon, like now,
Soon.
like as we're recording. As
yeah.
we're recording, they're actually playing. You can see it on the screen, guys. It's actually a live stream happening right now on their channel, where they're going to be facing off some of the teams here in APAC, right? And I think that could be a good gauge going into the next season in VCT Pacific. So we'll see what they have in store for us.
Paperthin supposed to be casting for this?
Eventually.
Yeah, man. Oh, eventually. Okay.
But I'm just doing the last day, so I had other
Okay.
stuff. So this, and I actually have a few other things going on this week.
Yeah.
I got to record some content for PUBG and some other stuff. But Yeah, no, I'll be doing the last David. I think they're playing Naus today.
They're playing Orangutan.
Orangutan. Okay, Orangutan. I couldn't remember. Okay. So that should be good. I mean, I like this event, but I want to get some other thoughts here. blackenBlue, you know what? This is something you're clearly very excited about.
This is the best team I've ever seen.
Team Secret, where are you?
In my life.
Holy.
This is my favorite team.
I respect
out of all the teams now. I mean,
So you're officially a GE stan coming into 2025.
I am a GE glazer from today on forward is I'm going to be. I mean, I do like the team roster wise. There is reason to be skeptical, obviously, because a lot of these boys haven't had played in tier 1. There is some experience there. Crystal, I don't know how much you can quantify his experience being tier 1. He did play in China, and then he also played in Scars, technically still tier 2. Udotan is actually arguably the most experienced player here in terms of the highest level of play, arguably just because of where he came from, where Adam, we all know that. And I think where this team does have its strengths lie is the flexibility of what they have. They have 3 duelist players potentially here, Udotan being one of those 2, Crystal being another, and then they also have Patrick. I think his name is Patrick Who now, or it used to be Patrick Watson. His official tag is Yokam on Twitter, which was his original IGN, but he's called Patrick Who now. So whichever name he sticks with, either way, he's still a great player, and he plays Duelist mainly. And then you also have Kelly S, who also plays Duelist, so it's not one of those things where you see some teams be like, oh, they picked up a bunch of Duelist players and now they don't know who to put on Duelist. I think they're defined roles here on that. It should be Patrick Who to play one of the Duelists there, but everybody else can still kind of play that role. So there's a lot of firepower in this team. And sometimes to get a team off the ground early when you aren't really, a very experienced team, sometimes that firepower really does help, because obviously as a newer team, you don't really have your, sets and your protocols really super well seated yet. So having that firepower really helps. And if you fail, then Poppy Chulo's there to clutch.
There you go.
Fair. All right. Well, let me pivot a little bit. We also have the new coach, Quack Juvenile.
Yes.
What are our thoughts about Juvenile as a coach coming into this GE squad?
I mean, that's the main question that I have, because we can always have really capable players, but you need a coach to be able to lead and mold the team around, their strengths and their, some of the weaknesses that they need to perhaps complement and whatnot. So you can clearly see Juvenile's resume, he's got experience, right? So many teams, TSM, assistant coach on Leviathan, he seems like he's really talented. He can definitely act as well in their videos and everything. So it seems like it's headed somewhere. We just got to wait and see how the whole thing shapes up, because I don't really know what his coaching style is like.
But
yeah,
one
I
think
we're going to be learning that.
Yeah, we'll be learning a lot. Sorry, I was just going to say a shout out to Elevated as well.
Oh, yeah.
Content creator turned coach. I think I remember seeing one of his tweets saying that competing at the highest level is one of his bucket goals, or a goals in a bucket list. And to see that actually happening is actually pretty exciting. And obviously he knows the game, right? He's been making guides, has been talking about the game nonstop since it came out. So I'm actually curious more about how he can be an impact to the team. So that combined with Juvenile, with his plethora of experience, I think that could be a good sauce for Team Global Esports to cook with.
Okay. So I think we all seem to be relatively positive on the direction for Global Esports. I mean, I'm there with you guys. I think this is overall an improved roster from what we saw previously. I think I'm hopeful for everything, all the pieces that are in place, the coaching staff that they're putting in there. I think Elevated is even going to be on the broadcast a little bit for them, so you can listen in and get some real insight to what he's thinking. So if you're seeing this now, he was on, I think today our time, yesterday or whatever, 2 days ago, first day of the Global Esports event. So did they announce the lineup for the teams yet that are all playing in there? Oh, well, I might have spoiled it a little bit.
Can I just say one thing though? You know what this team feels like? This team feels like a third Ascension team. I don't know if that makes
Mm.
sense, but
Because of the
does.
players.
yeah, because of the players.
Yeah,
None of
They're
the
all from
players actually.
Ascension.
Yeah, they're all from Ascension. That's one. So they just kind of took a bit of a shortcut getting into a tier 1, and so that's going to be an issue, I feel, because if you notice, I mean, so far we've only had one Ascended team in action in the VCT Pacific, and
Yeah.
we kind of know what happened to them. Within our region, is that true, or am I tripping?
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Yeah, that's
Within
correct.
our
I'm right.
region, that's
Okay.
right. But
Yeah,
with
they who shall
other
not be named.
regions,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
other regions we do have some, I guess, success stories, but within
Yeah.
our region, obviously, we haven't really seen that to be a good showing of the power of Ascended teams. So I'm just hoping that this team that's technically in tier 1 but feels like a Ascended team, there's going to be added pressure, I feel, especially now that they're playing alongside the other Ascended teams who actually ascended and are showing great promises like SPG, right? And SPG have already kind of shown that they are the better team in Ascension itself. So, yeah, what do you guys think about that? Like, how does that feel right? Like, do
Yeah.
they feel like an
I see.
Ascended team?
I see where you're coming from. Just like
Yeah.
looking back historically at the region, not even from Valorant, just tag shooters in general. You never
Yeah.
really see too many teams from, especially SEA and just Asia as a whole, come from bottom and beat the top teams. You rarely see that. Typically, the top best teams, even like back then in CS, look at teams like Tyloo and whatever. There was always some of these teams that had players who were from the more experienced side of things. Even though you'd say they're old, it's kind of what works. It's kind of like the meta here in Asia. Like the players who have the most experience typically do win. So it's not wrong to feel that way, but there's always exceptions to the rule, and I guess Global could be one of them.
Could be.
I think so. I mean, maybe the players might, feel like it's an Ascension team, but they are the ones who have made it to like the top of Ascension. Crystal and all of them. Poppy Jewel as well. But the other thing, that's why this whole coach discussion is like quite prevalent as well, because he's not like just some Ascension coach. Like he's someone from NA. It's so many different experiences. So that's
TSM and others. Yeah.
where that experience comes in, and maybe together that's going to form like some kind of a stronger team, possibly. I mean, that's what this whole face-off event's going to be about. That's what we want to see.
Well, it's good for them. I mean, it gets them some extra experience, like in front of audiences, even though it's online and stuff. But like, kind of this team, they need that actual experience. They don't have access to as many off-season events for whatever reason. I have no idea why, but so they need that practice and that kind of thing. So that's good. And I like that the team's taking the initiative to set all this up and produce the event and all that stuff. And so that's like an encouraging sign for a lot of reasons. The team, like, I think at their best is probably middle of the pack in Pacific based on what we know of the rosters, and you know what I mean? Like, and that's nothing against them. It's just that most teams made improvements, or at least stayed enough the same that they should be just about as good coming into next year. So I think it's going to be rough for everybody, especially in like that middle to the bottom of the pack of Pacific. I think it's going to be very competitive. So it's going to be a tough year for them. But there's encouraging things going on in that entire organization. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the announcement video. The
Linkin Park.
It was sick. It was like watching like a early YouTube like 2008
Frag
like
movie.
AMV or frag video. Yeah. Like it was so good. I was like the nostalgia.
With the clips of like Global Esports colors. That was a nice touch as well.
It was super cool. Actually, like really, really well put together content there. So props to GE.
I mean, at first I was like, wait, they're doing magic tricks? What's going on here? But then the cards came out with the whole the trickster, and like, ooh, okay.
Well, I like that they're already trying to brand their players like with identities and that kind of stuff. Especially as a caster, like that makes my job so easy.
Oh yeah,
to just come in there and be like, oh, this, like. So, but that's a good thing to do. You want to give your players identity. You want to give the fans something to, think about when they latch onto these players in their big moments. Like, oh, he was the trickster and he did this tricky thing where he, hid somewhere or whatever.
Isn't that something that feels kind of lacking with like players now? Like, there's no like nicknames, like there's no monikers, like
right.
right? In sports, like the Problem Child or the Iceman or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
King.
yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's those kind of like monikers or titles that we really assign to players. So it's good that Global kind of already started that trend, in at least for their team. So now or at least audiences don't have to be like, what could we call these guys otherwise? And as you said, it makes our job much easier.
Yeah.
I see
It's one
Sleepy
thing
thinking about it.
I've always appreciated about like esports in like China and to a lesser extent like Japan and Korea, where they do give pretty good nicknames. I mean, obviously like Faker's the unkillable demon king, right? But in like China, like in some of the other esports like PUBG, for example, like they used to have these 3 dragons, which were like the 3 best Chinese players on their respective teams, and like stuff like that. Like they had these cool names, and I'm with you. I love this Black and Blue. Like I wish I was creative enough to come up with good nicknames. I'm not. I tried to brand. I tried to brand May last year as the Hand of God because Depp is the Child of God. Yeah. So in that's what they call Depp, because he's like actually their best FPS player like ever. Because he's played so many different esports. But May, I thought like just had this, otherworldly ability last year, and I mean some of the Japanese fans liked it. It got a decent amount of traction on Twitter when I put it out there, but it didn't really stick. So
in English,
Sad. It doesn't work in English. It does. It makes a lot more sense in Japanese.
In Japanese, China actually have a lot of nicknames for each PaperX player.
Really?
I can't remember top of my head right now. Juan, do you remember? Because we were talking about this. We were talking about how, because we were trying to make content and cater it to the Chinese audience ourselves in PaperX, and we found out that we do have nicknames for each player. And one of them, I think it was Davai. It was called something Buddha.
Wait, why?
Maybe like a laughing Buddha or something. I don't know exactly. I can't remember. Sorry if I'm butchering this, but that is actually very cute. Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are right. I think we need to.
Yeah.
Honestly, why don't we do it? Like maybe.
I wanted to like Monyet the monkey.
This is our homework. Yeah,
this is our homework. Yeah, exactly. So
homework.
next episode, we should all come up with a nickname for at least
for a player.
For a player, right?
One Pacific player.
Homework.
Yes, and then we try to slip it into like I don't know, somewhere in the broadcast. We try to seed it into like other people's minds in the broadcast for VCT, and then who knows? Maybe next year we'll find out one of us actually created a good name.
One of the nicknames that I did like that stuck, one of the few ones that stuck here, for Naos's player, Nexi, everybody calls him Sexy Nexi. All the time.
Yeah, well, that's like calling texture sexture, right? Like it just works. It just works.
Very nice.
So we've already got Texture down. We don't need any more nicknames for him. So he's claimed. How about then transitioning to a new player that has been added to a roster that maybe we come up with a nickname for after we get to see a little bit more of him? Is, I believe it's pronounced Athan or Athan. I think Athan is how they say it in Korean, because there's no TH sound in Hangul. But they promote him to the main squad. New DRX player. I want to start with the problem child of Quack, since somebody said that nickname earlier, and I wanted to try to pass it on to you, Quack.
Nico did. Okay,
I love in reference, it's because that's the nickname for Jake Paul.
Yes.
Oh, then it fits. Yeah, that's good. All right, problem child. We've got a new player. We haven't seen a lot of him, but DRX, who knows?
Who knows? I feel like they're just, they tested him out with the 10 Asia Invitational, and he seems to be, I guess, like if he plays his role and if he does it right. But that the performances weren't always like up there, because clearly, they kind of dropped the talent a little bit. So you're kind of thinking if there needs to be anything more. But otherwise, it seems as though he plays his initiator role pretty well, and maybe that's what Coach Termy is looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're big shoes to fill there, since he's playing a lot of the flash initiators, I think, just like, you had with Stacks. So that in terms of just util usage alone, big shoes to fill there for sure. Oh, it's Athan, because his name used to be Leviathan. So it's Athan. Athan. That's right. Now I remember why it was pronounced like that. Anyway, so this is, I mean, I think the track record for DRX should speak for itself. Like, any other thoughts, Sleepy, Black and Blue?
their track record for finding gems in the rough, I think, is what needs to be trusted here. I think they are one of the few teams that actually have a very solid working academy program. Like a lot of the new players we saw this year actually came from their prospects team, and they were also actively looking like all year round just for regeneration for their players. And if there's anyone who can do it, it's DRX. So I'm feeling good about this too for DRX. And like we said, it's gonna be super competitive next year, and I don't think DRX is willing to be left behind.
Yeah, and if anything, they still keep their coaches anyways. Like
Yeah.
Coach Termy, Glow, and Argency from even from Vision Strikers days. So I don't doubt that there still is that structure that we do kind of expect from one of the top leading teams that wrote the book in the first place. I do only wonder though if their system of what they're going to try and employ next year, coming into the next season, is going to be something similar to what we saw from the previous DRX roster, or are they going to try and do something else? Because there is value in a system, yes, but sometimes you kind of have to mold it a bit to your players a bit more if you feel like your players don't really feel it or don't really fit the mold as well. So that's where I kind of wonder if, like, as experienced as they are, will they try and emulate what they had before, or try and, I guess, now build something new with what they've got?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, when it comes to like being like the drill sergeants of competitive Valorant, like DRX absolutely are probably the best when it comes to getting your fundamentals into place compared to a lot of teams. In Pacific, I'd say they're probably the best. But yeah, I think the big question is I really like the point you're making here, Black and Blue, because we had to see a bit of a change in the kind of ideology and methodology for DRX last year, where it was a little more freeform once, some of the players started, leaving the team, and they had to kind of rely on Mako and Buzz and Mako's IGL style. Like he talked about it, I think in an interview at Champions or something, where he's kind of like letting them have a lot more freedom and, kind of only chiming in when he feels like he really needs to. The younger players are very vocal. So is it going to be more of that? Or are we going to see more of like the old school DRX where it was very structured, very rigid? I think that's the biggest questions.
There's value in both anyways, right? Like obviously you kind of want to emulate what worked before because, well, they got to the top. They got to almost the top of the world by doing that. But I think the real brand here of DRX has always been their innovation. And so if they can innovate once again, just as they did at the start of Valorant, maybe not to the same heights, maybe not to the same extents, because obviously it's a much older game now, much more experienced teams know how to play the game better. But if they can once again bring that sort of innovation that we haven't really seen from other teams just yet, at least here in Pacific, then maybe they might be able to find their former glory that we expect of an org like DRX.
It's like
oh yeah, go ahead, Quack.
I was just thinking like perhaps it's one of those things where in the beginning they'll have this old structured style, but then as they go on, maybe the players start to show more personality, more of their own personal strengths, and then that's where they start to mold things around the players a bit more.
I'm sorry, Quack. As soon as you said in the beginning,
in the beginning.
I know. I saw your
Damn, Quack, you took the words out of my mouth, man. And that's literally what I was about to say.
Yeah, because it does feel like
it's more of a requirement. I feel right for you to be a bit more structured at the beginning. Oh, sorry, am I
in the beginning?
In the
Well, not in the beginning, no. So it's more of a requirement for you to get your systems right first. And once you've got that experience playing together, built the chemistry, stuff like that, then you can kind of allow them to, do whatever you want. So
you gotta learn how to play scales before you improvise.
Yes, exactly. Damn,
we were just talking about
like
music
the jazz
before
metaphor. Yeah, let's go.
Love that. But yeah, exactly like that. So yeah, on point, Quack. Respect.
Play
Absolutely.
by the book before you go off page, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what they say?
I don't know. I'll go with it.
It sounds good.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I'll take it.
I liked it.
Yeah,
That's all that matters. All right, so we were just talking about a former academy player becoming a big stage player, but now we have some interesting news coming out of the Pacific region that 9 Pacific teams have decided to field academy rosters. And what exactly does this mean for the landscape? What does this mean for the future of Tier 2 or whatever? Sleepy, I want to get your thoughts initially here as someone involved with an organization. Like, what are you seeing developing for Valorant in Pacific?
Obviously, I can't share much about what's happening within the team.
Sure.
But my thoughts on it is that it's been a bit of a problem. I feel regeneration of players here in Southeast Asia specifically. Coming from Indonesia, I can speak for Indonesia. We suck ass when it comes to regeneration. Like for the past 3 LAN grand finals, it's been these 2 teams: Boom Esports versus Alter Ego. And for the past 3 grand finals in LAN, it's the same players, except maybe plus minus 1 player, right? So there's a bit of a problem there. I feel like we, as like a region, haven't really found the key to, I guess, finding a way to surface these newer players, the newer talents, like, or maybe there's a bit of a gatekeeping involved. I don't know. I'm not trying to call out anyone here, but I'm just saying it's feeling like it's super hard for newer players to kind of find their way into the Tier 1 or Tier 2, I guess. Tier 1 regionally. So with this academy system or this academy program, I feel like there's a bit of a help to fast track newer players to find a way to play at the bigger stages and find more bigger experiences. And I see the positives, but at the same time, as an organization, what are you going to do with your academy team? I think that's the question, right? If they're literally just a feeder into the Tier 1 team, I don't know if that's like a good enough incentive for these players, So I think it needs to be a well-polished system before it becomes a thing. Otherwise, it's not going to solve a lot of problems, I feel. It's just going to be there.
Curious. Obviously, one of the big points about this whole academy team thing is that the academy teams, although they play in challengers, they're not allowed to go up to Ascension, and that's one
exactly
of the biggest things. So, as a player, then the question does become like, my incentive, like, do I want the salary and be on a huge team like that, and like, ooh, I'm part of PaperX, but academy, or do I want to strike it out and try to compete and then go up Ascension? Is that
so? It's that battle between these 2 incentives, right? So it's giving the players more options, but at the same time, it's like both options aren't really the ideal case in this scenario. That's what I feel right now. But
what is the ideal actually? Like, do you think?
If I can answer that, Quack, I think I'll be a lot richer.
That's true.
I don't have the answer right now, but all I know is that there's more improvements needed for this system still at this point.
It's a start.
blackenBlue.
It's a start.
What I'm worried about, though, is, generally, as a team, you're going to pick up academy players. Okay, yes. It comes down to, do I pick up who's doing good right now? Which is probably going to be the old heads anyways, as Sleepy mentioned in Indonesia. It's like the Alter Ego guys or the Boom guys, right? That's all it's going to be for the most part. Or do I pick out like maybe the 7th seed, the 8th seed, who isn't good now, but maybe in the future they will be. And generally, teams will want quicker success, quicker immediate results, even within a year. And that typically means they're going to pick up the guys who are already at the top anyways. If Boom didn't make it, they're probably going to be taking guys from Boom. Same with Team Secret. Now it's not making it. They're probably just going to take the guys from Naos, and maybe Oasis, maybe Zol, something like that. That's all most teams are probably going to do. It makes it so that it does take away the more experienced talent within a specific region, yes, and they now will leave space for people underneath them to fill, right? So if they, for an example, in Indonesia again, if they take like the guys from Alter Ego, or if we're talking about Thailand here, they take the guys from like Full Sense or Myth, then everybody underneath is going to be able to fill up to the top of at least their Ascension slots in terms of their challenger scene. But then again, is that really what the Academy program was for? Is it really for taking the best players already now for immediate results in a specific smaller region, or is it for building up talent for future reference, for future use in maybe 2-3 years time? It comes down to what you guys think is better. And as Sleepy said, I don't know, but I can see a way that this could maybe be, I don't know if harmful is the right word, but there could be underlying issues that are brought to the surface even more so because of a program like this. I'm not skeptic. I think ultimately a good thing to have something like this, because we were talking about teams having to really prioritize building up talent as opposed to buying talent for future longevity of the esport. But ultimately, this is a good program, yes, but I do think some regions like Southeast Asia, maybe even South Asia, I don't know if we're necessarily, I'm not going to say ready for it, but if our structure and system and just how things have gone historically for our region, if it will benefit it as much as maybe other regions might. Like if you have this whole program in NA, I'm pretty sure it will work pretty well there in NA. But here in Southeast Asia, I am not skeptical, but I do worry to an extent about how it could affect the local landscapes of each individual region playing.
We got so many little like sub regions, but I do like what Joandi was just pulling out there for a second, because what we saw with Talon Academy is that Surf, who was like the 6th player or something, went down to Academy, and then they picked up some other players, not from Full Sense, not from Myth. So
that's
another option.
Talent. That's what I like about Talon, right? They actually took like young players, they took young kids who do have potential. They didn't just take like John Olsen. They didn't just take like, the guys at the top, Kadoom. They didn't go straight up there. And that's what I think the program is for. So if teams can stick more to this, I think there's more benefit. But if they just keep on taking the creme of the crop already from the region because of, the pressure to have immediate success, otherwise your league standing might not do too well in a year's time, then that's where it could be a problem. But if teams stick to like what Talon did here, then great job.
From a team perspective, I can see how they might use like academy teams to scrim,
for sure,
among themselves, right? And then that's where you get to keep some strats.
Like what EG did, right? I think EG had an academy team. They had to scrim each other a lot. Yeah. Now that I think about it, I think Riot might be geniuses right now, because they know they know the creme of the crop. Like the John Olsens, the Boomer AE of whatever, they will probably not take an offer to be in an academy team because they know they have a chance to compete at Ascension, right? And so only the younger players who really have no experience whatsoever will be willing to sign up for this. And that becomes the regeneration that these tier 1 teams will have in the future. Either to feed into the tier 1 team that exists, or they break out and join another tier 2 team to compete at Ascension. So I think that might work. I think that
the system is fine. Like what Riot did, the program is good. It's more just like if the orgs go like, oh, we're gonna pay you a hell of a lot of money just to join our academy team.
Like,
when
so it becomes more of a business decision, right?
Like
can we sustain this in the first place? And I don't have the answers to that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
are they required to have an academy team, or do they choose to do it?
I mean, there's only 9 out of the 12 we have now, so I guess there's
a little bit.
It's not like a hard requirement.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm curious about it from, because we've been talking about it from like Riot's perspective or the team's perspective. From the player's perspective, that's interesting because a player's life is like pretty freaking...
Oh, dude.
It's not easy. Literally everything hinges on your performance in game, and like you have to sacrifice so much and like play basically like have no life, basically just play Valorant all day in order to be that good. Like that's what Fluorescent said in her MVP.
So I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking the same thing.
I have no
like
life.
Floors, it's like I have no life.
I know, but that's why.
I get it.
Like, maybe having these academy teams gives players more options, because then they can, have the salary or just, maybe find a good team and possibly go up to Ascension.
What I worry about with it, I guess, just from thinking about like when I talk to teams and stuff, especially like I feel like I'm worried a lot of teams are going to stretch themselves too thin, like in terms of like how do you coordinate between your academy roster and your main roster. Like the head coach, your main roster, like how much say do they have in the coaching? How much, how deep are they into that team as well? Like, are you kind of going from the same structures, the same playbooks, or does the coach of the challengers team have kind of their own freedom? But then if you bring a player up from your challengers team, do they have to then learn a different system, from coach to coach? And I think it adds a lot of layers of complexity to these teams that, I think it can work. I mean, you've seen it in stuff like, League of Legends where it does work. Like you can bring up new talent and it does absolutely work. But obviously Valorant's a pretty different game in a lot of ways, where there's a lot more flexibility and kind of the tactics and the strategy, I think, overall. So that's where my kind of concern is right now. Now, not to say that isn't going to be a problem if you're just yoinking players out of ranked or tier 2 anyway, as it stands, like Ascension, but it is. I think it's going to be tricky, especially from a financial aspect as well, for these teams to field these rosters and field these extra coaching staffs and give them extra facilities and all that stuff. Find the opportunities for them to play. I think it's going to be challenging. If it works, I think it'll work good.
I would love it.
It'll be a positive step. Yes, I would love it, but I have concerns.
I do think ultimately it is a good move, and it's a step in the right direction, anyways.
For sure.
We always worried about kind of the regeneration and just not even like the opposite of what the retention of talent would be, because you do not want to have like the same players all the time, right? So this is a step in the right direction. It's ultimately a good thing. I'm only worried about, once again, how org owners would take the direction and how they would go with this. But ultimately enough, I still do think that what Paperthin was saying here about the whole spreading themselves thin. Do you think that maybe teams will prioritize like how quick they can integrate a player into their system over just not having to have their coach bother with focusing on their academy team when they're focused too much on the game? Do you think that's going to be a problem in that way, Clint?
Yeah, I do. I think it'll be okay. How about this? I think it'd actually be a problem for certain roles where like you might prioritize a player who's got, for example, good utility for when they're playing initiators or something versus maybe a crack duelist who you want to then, you want to bring up to your main roster, but you've already got another crack duelist, right? Like let's say you have two amazing duelists, one on your challengers roster, one on your main roster, and the duelist you want to bring up, would have to change roles to fit into the new team. Or do you take that initiator that's already kind of a proven quantity, has good util, but doesn't have nearly the quality of mechanics that your main duelist does on your promotion roster? How do you make those decisions? I think that's a really tough call to make, and it's obviously to be coach to coach, but that's not easy. I mean, all right, teams do face that decision in some ways already, right? But I think
for sure.
I don't know if I have a great answer to your question. I don't know if there is a good one.
Well, it's their problem, I guess.
That is true. That is
not
true.
our problem. Yeah, thank God.
But I think this is a fun conversation, to be honest, and I think we'll be talking a lot more about this as we see the progression. But yeah, I just want to be cautious, like everyone else here. I just hope that this doesn't become a second option choice for a lot of players, where they feel safer to be in an academy team, where we can just bank on his salary.
I think it definitely will.
That's the problem, right? That's the problem I want to avoid, and I hope it doesn't. Like, how things are in the world, right? It's intended for something, but people find a way to kind of spin it and use it for something else. And I just hope that this doesn't become that. So that's one caution I have, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Well, we have a lot to look forward to talk about that in the future for sure. Let's real quick talk about a player who has decided to hang up the mouse and keyboard to retire, and that's my boy xnfri. This one's tough. For me personally, just a super nice guy. Speaks phenomenal English. So he was one of the guys who I would kind of nudge behind the scenes to get info on what was going on in Japan. And also just a really cool dude. I had a really nice opportunity one time to sit down with him for a meal and just talk about his future and esports and life and everything. And this was 2 years ago when he wasn't sure if he was going to keep playing for another year or not, or if it was going to go to university or what. But just a really smart, thoughtful guy. Any thoughts, anybody, on what kind of impact he's had? I gave a little bit of a personal anecdote, but in the game itself and in the scene, what has he meant to Valorant? Maybe even Valorant Japan.
He's always been, at least even from the outside looking in, looking at Japan, there are already so few names that are immediately recognizable from Japan, and he's one of those more household ones. He's been on like almost every big org at this point, Fennel, right? He's been on DFM and a bunch of other ones. So you look at xnfri here, and I'm just, you know what I worry about every time I see somebody retiring from being as a player? Like, what is next for them? Because realistically, if you're leaving like esports scene, there isn't that many transferable skills, especially as a player, right? So I'm hoping that moving forward, for a guy who seems as smart as him, that he is able to actually find what it seems like, as you were talking to him, right, when you had dinner with him, that he was wondering if he even pushes through this. And that's a question that every professional kind of talks about to themselves and questions to themselves, not just player, but everybody in esports. And so I'm hoping for his sake that he does find, his where he really feels like he belongs.
Yeah, absolutely. Quack.
Well, I mean,
What you
we've
say?
kind of heard a little bit here and there about this as well, like from Corey and discussions, like through interviews with xnfri. I mean, I think he's always been kind of that charismatic guy who represents Japan in some ways, and then also speaks English pretty freaking well. So it's always a pleasure to have him on broadcast or just to chat with him. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just, I guess, like, thoughts and prayers. Like, good luck.
Wow, he's not dying, Quack.
Nobody's dead yet, man.
Not like that. I'm kidding. But it does sound as though he has like plans already like lined up, because you don't just like retire without thinking about what you want to do next. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he does feel like the type of guy who would have plans before making a decision like that. And the short stint that I had last year when I was still traveling a lot with the team, I did meet him a few times and exchange words. Not quite nearly as intimate as you did, Clint, but from that short of a conversation, I sort of saw him as like a figure that could actually represent Japan on the wider like global stage. And so I was feeling optimistic about DFM despite the results. And it was thanks to xnfri. Like, I was rooting for him, more like what I'm trying to say. So it's a bummer that he's, what is the expression for an esports player retiring? Hung his mouse?
Hang hang his mouse and keyboard.
Hang his mouse. Okay, there you go.
Hung his.
But yeah, it's a bummer. He's a nice guy, very wholesome, and overall just felt like a guy that could actually become something big in esports. But if he decided to not pursue it, then hopefully we'll see him somewhere else.
I mean, I definitely, when I talked to him, tried to kind of impress upon him the idea that he's in a unique position.
Yeah.
He's, that he speaks very fluent English, on top of speaking, obviously, his native language of Japanese, but that he could be one of those guys who bridges the gaps, that could be used in esports in a lot of different ways. If he decides to go in coaching, that'd be huge. I think that's something that would be really, really valuable to a lot of teams, to be able to bring players in, to Japan from, Americas or Europe or whatever. That could also, he could be there to be that guy to help, make it a little more comfortable for everybody. And so, I don't know if he will or not. He might go do something else. Like, he's talking about going back to university or something. But regardless, I do really wish him the best. I mean, he was a good player. I mean, he's on that North Epsion team with Meteor, where Meteor kind of made his name. But he had some huge clutch moments to kind of help get them to some of those international events and that kind of stuff. So, I think he leaves a strong legacy as a very important foundational player for Japanese esports and Japanese Valorant. So, I really, really hope the best for the guy, truly.
Well, he does have a big following to an extent, so maybe he could, continue the whole, content creation thing and
He could.
try and pivot it
Whereas-
a bit more like English and Japanese as a base to kind of get a bit more international audience there. Because
Juandi, did you just press follow? Oh,
No.
You were.
No.
no.
It looked like it, but okay, safe.
All right. We'll believe Joandi for now. All right, let's move on a little bit. And we did have an off-season event in the last couple of weeks, which I might have been there. The Gwangju Esports series. Kind of an interesting event. I'll give some inside perspective, but I want to just get your guys' quick thoughts on watching it from afar and what you guys were.
Look at that Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Zoom in on that. English commentators.
Yes, me and Chobra.
The Zoom.
we
Enhance.
We had a lot of fun. I've got a good anecdote. All right, I'll tell an anecdote first, a little story. So, Binbon, one of the Korean casters, is a super funny guy, super nice. Quack obviously knows him too. And me, him, and Chobra went out for dinner the night before the event started. And I had been kind of researching some places, and I was like, oh, there's this, it's like a spicy pork soup place that I found.
Want to play?
Oh my
Let's
God.
play.
That was a random Victoria noise. But before we get to that, so we go and we get this spicy pork stew, and it is mega spicy. So this part of Korea is known for kind of having their food be more spicy than other parts of Korea, maybe necessarily. So we get there and they're just sweating. They're just pouring sweat, and I'm just shoveling it in my face. I love spicy food, and poor Chobra and Binbon are just dying. And the lady next to me, and because I speak enough Korean, she goes, "Wow, this foreigner can really eat spicy food."
You beat the locals.
That's right.
Your own game.
I beat the locals. Yeah, that's right. I'm very proud of myself. But let's start with Black and Blue. What did you think overall about the event? Good, bads, your takeaways?
Not gonna say bad, obviously. I mean, ultimately, it was a good early look. It's sometimes so hard to kind of quantify how much the wins in these type of tournaments are on the off season, but ultimately they still are valuable. Otherwise, you wouldn't see teams join them in the first place, especially some teams who are starting out, like for example, Global. They're playing a tournament here today. But here for the Gwangju one, you look at the two teams who are arguably the headliners in terms of, you look at Korea, T1 and Genji. I'm still unconvinced at the end of the day who I think I'll put at the top when it comes to the actual regular season. I'm still very half and half about, do I say Genji? Do I put T1? We talked about it last episode, yes, but after the tournament, I'm still unconvinced, frankly, either way.
Yeah, it didn't really maybe give us all that we wanted. Quack.
I mean,
Thoughts?
they didn't have Kong wasn't playing, right? That
Right.
was a really big thing.
It feels bad, man.
It affected their performance quite a bit. So, wow, and T1 looks pretty darn good, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, that's for sure.
T1's amazing, man. T1's amazing. I'm super bullish on this roster, to be honest. And I know you're not entirely convinced yet, Black and Blue. I am. I'm just gonna say that. I am convinced this roster is gonna be stacked next season.
That was a little forced, Sleepy.
Well, I know. It was implied. It was implied in the way that I was saying it. But here's one thing I know for sure about this event.
Buzzkill.
All right. Kong had a lot of fun, man. He wasn't playing. I bet he was the one that had the most fun about this event, talking shit about his team, saying they suck without him and
Singing
stuff like
songs.
that. Exactly. So
he turned off
happy.
some of the matches halfway through, from what I heard.
Did you guys see Kang singing on that show?
Yeah.
On the
yes.
stage? What was that? Was it an award show?
Joanny knows.
I think it was. Yeah.
The man is Riz personified.
Dude.
He is just amazing.
He's got main character energy for sure.
Yes, 100%. He has more of it than I think any player I can think of on the planet in Valorant.
Yeah.
It's copy pasta that's he hangs with all the hottest dudes.
Yeah. Ooh, listen in.
There you go.
He's pretty good.
Damn.
Is this like the actual artist that's singing with him?
It might be.
Seems
Yeah.
like it.
Oh my god.
Damn, that's how clouded he is there.
Dude, he is mega clouded. Like
He's got.
he is
energy.
he does. He's got so much going for him. I mean, he's entertaining. He's good at the game, obviously.
Yeah.
But he wasn't there.
He
So I was sad.
He was busy doing that. He was busy singing, man.
Yeah. I mean, look, the guy won champions. He has earned the right to veto.
He can do whatever he wants.
For sure.
Yeah. And it's a good opportunity for EDG to try out some of their other players like Potter and Toast. They played okay on one map. I mean, they look good on Ascent. I'll say that. I mean, that was a really competitive map. Now, I don't know what that means exactly, but for what it's worth, there's potential there. Yeah, I mean, I think overall the event, also with Tracy Sports, with Kai not playing, that kind of hurt a little bit, because I want to say somebody said he had a wrist injury, but I can't remember exactly now. There was another player who got sick at the event, and they had to delay the start of one of the matches a little bit because he was feeling kind of ill. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, I don't know what we could take away from this, to be honest. It was fun. It was really cool. I mean, I'll say
they
this.
eat really spicy food as well, and that's why
They might have. But
Gwangju
they're not.
spicy food.
Yeah, they're not built like I am, man. I can eat that stuff all day.
They're not
every day.
paper thick.
That's
I have
correct. That's when I really become paper thick. Yeah.
Of all the Asian countries and regions, which one has like the most emphasis on spicy food? Which one's got the spiciest,
You've been around paper thick.
hottest of foods?
I think it's somewhere in Southeast Asia. I don't know exactly. I'd say the spiciest. I mean, I haven't been to like Indonesia or Vietnam or like the Philippines. I've only been to.
Trust me, we're not even in the conversation.
Okay, good. And then we get that out of the way. I've only been to Malaysia and Thailand, and the spiciest meal I ever had was in Thailand. So that's where I stand on it. But you guys probably know better than me.
Well, just visit Indo first, I would say.
I'm down.
Vietnam, I'm not too sure. But I think Thailand and Indo are like neck to neck.
Okay.
So
The ingredients they use, the bird's eye chili.
yeah. But it is a bit different kind of spice though. In Thailand it's a bit more of a heat.
Oh,
Here it's like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's just
dude, Joandy's killing me right now. This looks so good.
He's like pulling out
God, dude.
Chinese like food.
Oh man,
Dude.
this looks amazing.
He's going there. What? He's
Oh
flexing.
yeah, he is. Well, damn
he's
you,
just dunking
John.
on us. He's
Damn
flexing
you.
on us. Damn, man.
Damn.
A hot pot.
Dude, I love this. Oh my god, that looks
Yo.
fantastic. Look at those chilies, dude. I went to a maratong place here in Korea the other day, and it was run by some Chinese expats who were living here. And I said I wanted the spiciest level they had, and they looked at me like I was insane. And then I just ate it. It wasn't even that bad. Like, it wasn't as spicy as what I had in.
Yeah, that was
the
my
Gwangju
experience
event.
with Korea as well. Like they actually warned me, like, excuse me, this is spicy. Yeah, I can take it. Thank you.
Yeah,
And then it wasn't even spicy. That's like my thing about it. Like,
yeah.
okay,
It's not that bad
it's not that bad.
generally.
No.
All right. I will say this. I wanted to say one thing real quick about the Gwangju Esports series. In all seriousness, the people who run that event are super cool. They do a great job of putting it all together. The facility's amazing there in Gwangju, a gorgeous city. I spent a couple extra days there. I went and hiked a mountain and wanted to die when I got to the top, but truly a incredible event in terms of like what they only do it once every year or every couple years. They were supposed to do it every year, but something happened previously. I don't remember, but really nice people. They put a good show on. It's at a university there, phenomenal facility, really do a good job taking care of the talent and everything. So for what that's worth, I think, support that event, and hopefully in the future, we can get more teams and full rosters and have a little bit more fun with it next time. So
This message was brought to you by Gwangju.
yeah, like the city of Gwangju. Where's
Wait,
my
can I just say
royalty
one
check?
thing? Sorry,
Yeah,
I
go
wanted
ahead.
to just
go
highlight
ahead.
one thing. Could this be the first Vice appearance in a tournament?
Vice?
Oh,
Yeah, because I see
Well,
Meteor played Vice.
No, they
No?
played it at I mean, it was played at the Sentinels event because I was watching the VODs of that to
Okay,
study Vice.
Yeah.
Vice?
Vice.
I don't know. Vice? Like the game, like Vice City?
No.
No, Vise. Like a
Vise.
visor.
Yeah.
Vice.
Okay.
Okay.
I think
All
that's how
right.
it's
Well. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I just wanted to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can save that for next time. We could talk about
I have a
Vise
theory.
little bit more. Yeah.
I have
Go
a
ahead.
theory. The reason why Asians are so adamant about having bidets is because of the spicy food we eat. And in the Western world, they don't care about bidets as much because they use less chilies in their food.
I think it's more about
Okay.
the poo poo.
Yeah, because afterwards, if you don't have a bidet, there's nothing to cool off your hot rectum.
We gotta bring like a Nerion for this conversation.
I think so.
my
She's
God,
the
dude.
expert.
Well, yeah. They had that segment at GC where she had a
Hold up.
portable
I'm gonna
bidet.
stop you right there,
We're too
Clint. I'm
early.
gonna stop you
Oh
right
my
here, guys.
God,
We are
dude.
not
Save that
in the GC
conversation.
part of the podcast.
All right,
yet,
we'll
so-
save it. We'll save it.
Bathroom
Black and blue,
conversation.
you may be onto
Save it.
something, but I don't want to explore this topic any further. All right, let's go to where Jawandi will be going to. That is the Radiant Asia Invitational. Dude, this event, hype as fuck.
Yeah. This is actually the most fun we're gonna have in the off season, huh?
I think so. I'm freaking sad I can't be there
Same.
because they don't have English casting, jerks. But
Time
it
to learn
looks
Chinese,
awesome.
buddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a hard enough time speaking English. Okay, that's too much to ask, man. That's too much to ask. All right, so
Understand.
let's look at this event. We've got 8 teams there. You've got EDG, Trace, and Billy from China. And then the rest are Pacific teams: PaperX, DRX, DFM, Genji, RRQ. So this is hype, dude. This is like really, really good teams.
Mm-hmm.
Quack, thoughts? Give me your thoughts. This looks pretty insane.
I mean, it's just gonna be. I don't know. It's like it's just exciting to see all of the teams together again. Of course, you got the big Chinese teams, but then also like the roster mania results of like, I guess PaperX is about the same. But then how have they, retooled things after Champions? That's kind of like my question as a PaperX fan. I'm looking at Sleepy. But also for like every other team, right? We've got RRQ, who has been like doing a lot of work. But then also DRX, Genji. Well, Genji is always Genji. But DFM as well. How is that all going to play out? We'll just have to wait and see. That's basically the whole thing for this event.
I think it's safe to say this is one of the more like hyped off-season events just because of how many teams there actually are, and
True.
it's almost like a mini kickoff tournament just because of that, because it's one of the largest looks with a bigger kind of team pool that we have for teams here, because a lot of the off-season events will have maybe like 2-3 tier 1 teams, but this is stacked with all 8 of them are.
Yeah.
And
it's also
Chinese production. I just want to see that.
that's a
The
big one.
trailer and everything.
It's also a bit of a bigger spread in the standings for Pacific as well. With DRX, PRX, and Genji at the top, RQ in the middle, DFM, sorry to say, from the bottom. So maybe this is a good comeback story for DFM, or it's just a good preview for teams that have actually made changes to their roster and their gameplay. And I guess I'm just a little bit sad that T1 can't make it here, because that would have been even more fun. But this is great.
They're going
I'm
to
very
Germany.
happy. Yeah,
They're I think
They're there.
I'm actually they're there, but I'm actually pretty curious about what do you guys have for predictions for this? Does DFM win a match? Does somebody come through here and, is a Chinese team going to finally win something on their home soil?
Does Kang play?
Does Kang play?
Good
Does he stream?
Is he singing?
It's a good question.
Dancing now, maybe.
Black and Blue, give me your predictions. Who's making it to the finals of this thing and who's winning it?
Oh, that's difficult.
Yeah.
I think the immediate answer would be if, let's say, Kang is not playing, then probably like a Gen G PRX would be the immediate thoughts to mind. Obviously, Sleepy's gonna agree with that. I can see him nodding already with the mention of PRX. And it would be nice to see, the return of PRX back to their higher form, because we saw their last two international lands never really panned out the way that they thought it would, compared to how the Pacific regular season went, where they were actually able to win one at the start of the year. So a return to form would be nice for them. Same thing with Gen G. They were doing really good throughout the season. Then during Champions is when they dropped the ball, right? And for the opposite there for DRX, they were struggling throughout the season. Champions is where they actually have like this kind of coming out party where they find their form, and it was a better, I guess, showing from them. So ultimately, it'd be nice to see a bit more from those teams that we had lots of expectations for throughout the season in Pacific. The top prospected teams who kind of eventually went a bit flat near the end of things when it mattered the most. But I'm also interested to see how the other Chinese teams are going to play here, both TE and BLG, like how things will work out for them, because it's always been EDG just so far high up, and especially after this year, it's like you almost expect EDG to just win everything that is in China when it only comes to Chinese teams. I want to see a better performance from the other two. I want to see, for once, either of them just be like, hey, we're bringing you guys to a deep map 5 if we're going to play EDG. We're even beating you in a series, potentially in the BO3. I want to see a bit more from that, because then it elevates the game for EDG to have to, once again, innovate and be even better moving into the upcoming season.
Yes, I'm right there with you. I would love to see that. Quack, you got any predictions, any thoughts?
Yeah.
I
think predictions so far kind of similar. If it's not EDG, it feels like, I don't know. I would love to see Paper X, but I feel like Gen G so far right now still has my heart just because of how good they are. Oh man, feels like a stab to my heart to say that. But two thoughts. I want to hear Chinese casters say Sexture, or give us more nicknames.
Okay.
But the other thing, on a more serious note,
we'll just DM Alan and tell him. Yeah.
Yes. Call it out. But for DFM, we know the potential that they have, especially with a player like Mei, Hand of God. But we don't often get to see them play like cross regions. So maybe here's where we get to see them perform a little bit more. And if they can, compete against teams like Billy, Trace Esports, I don't know about EDG, but if they can like take them down a notch, then it would inspire a lot for like the Japanese fans. And if they can maybe even take down like DRX or RQ, that's even bigger. It will look so good for DFM. I want to see something happen.
Okay. We want to see DFM do something. Absolutely. Sleepy. Prediction.
Something will happen.
No bias here now, Sleepy. Come on. Okay, yeah, something will happen.
Something will happen. Right. I mean,
wow.
It's like all the merch.
Like,
this is why we pay you the big bucks, Sleepy.
What's the extra P for?
No, so the Paper X is actually in our socials. It's PPRX.
Oh,
so that's
paper.
Why it's PPR. Paper X.
Yeah, it's 2 P's.
Yeah, I can't spell.
2 is better than 1. Anyway, so I don't know. Yeah, no bias. I'm no bias. It's PRX is gonna be there. I wanted to say Trace was gonna be there too, but I just looked at their history, and honestly, the only success they've had so far have been against Western teams. So they kind of struggle with their neighbors a little bit. So I would be pleasantly surprised if BLG can make it instead. EDG again, whether Kang plays or not. If Kang plays, then it's an easy answer. Hometown advantage, kind of. Not really hometown, but home advantage. But yeah, I would say it's either Trace or BLG. Trace especially because we recently saw a video from Mr. Huandi. And it kind of felt like it would make a good conclusion to a story where, you know, these players are struggling and they're getting yelled at and they're getting like these massive words thrown at them, and maybe, who knows, it motivates them from the inside and they want to do a comeback story. This is a time for them, right? So that could be good. That could be a good story.
Trace Esports coach versus PRX. Alex, who you got?
Alex.
He's got a lot of fire in him, man. I don't know. He's scary. Like, he's got that crazy eye energy, dude.
Yeah, dude. I love Alex, man.
I want to fight those people, man.
I love Alex, but
yeah,
he's chill. He's chill enough. I think.
Alex is way too chill. Like,
he rages in game. He rages when he's coaching, but he's chill, man. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I mean, so when was this video taken exactly? Do you guys know?
So this was like during CN Stage 1 when they faced EDG, and it was like close to maps.
Wow.
Both maps went to overtime. Like, I forgot which map, but one of the maps went like 12-6 in favor of Trace Esports, and then like they got comeback.
Wow.
In overtime.
Okay.
Okay, so he's upset. And he's smashing some stuff.
He smashed the table.
Yeah, the poor desks, poor chairs get beat up a lot.
No, but see, guys, it worked, right? It worked because they came to Champions firing on all cylinders. They beat Vitality, they beat Leviathan. So I'm just saying, maybe something worked somewhere.
Well, there's always it always depends. In my like kind of estimation is like some players respond way better to this kind of stuff when they're slacking, you know, or they're not meeting the expectations that, you know, that the coaches have and that they have for themselves. That some players absolutely respond to this kind of thing. Yeah. Like it gets them fired up. Other players don't. Other players shy away from this and they shut down and they don't want to deal with it. So it all depends on the chemistry between the coaches and the players here. So like,
for sure.
I also wonder like culturally how common is like a coach like this that's very hard set in stone, like especially for esports in general. Like, is this an exemption, or is this like just generally how people are? Are they very like super rigid and strict and very drill sergeant about like esports there? I wouldn't know. Maybe Alan would know, but like it's something that makes me think about it. You know?
You ever seen those like videos of kids like training in table tennis? Ping pong.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That's right. Very, you know, like,
yeah.
Down the line.
Yeah, exactly. So to be very clear, my first like primal reaction when I was watching this video, thanks Juandi, I was like, damn, this is unnecessary. That's like my first thought. But I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, and like you said, blackenBlue, like it may just be the culture. It might just be something that works there, and it has been proven to work there.
Yeah, so, there was a part 2 to this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
there was another.
This part is this part is very trending in China because when the coach yells, like there was like the whole EDG team like behind them watching from afar, you know.
I saw Content walk into this video at one point.
Imagine just seeing your competition getting scolded.
It does look as though
that's got to be a good feeling.
Like, he says like EDG's behind you, like can you stop or something.
Oh.
And it's like I don't give a crap if EDG's behind me. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. My
there you go.
That's
EDG right there.
There it is.
Cameraman, raise, man. Give the cameraman a raise.
Zoom in. Enhance.
Nobody's just laughing in the background, just like our coach doesn't do that to us. Oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, but it depends. Like, wasn't one of the League of Legends teams? Didn't EDG's League of Legends team infamously have a coach who also was a rager, who had like tons of videos? I think that was EDG, who would rage out on the team behind the scenes. But yep, here we go. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so
See,
it's
this
a
is.
cultural
I think
thing.
it's more of a culture thing. Yeah.
So maybe
you see this
EDG
in-
has that too, but they just don't have it on camera.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You see this kind of stuff in American sports all the time.
Oh,
All the time in
Like
American
football,
sports. Yeah. Oh God, football especially.
Yeah.
They're just smashing stuff, throwing water coolers
Roll
all over the
Tide.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Roll Tide. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, but again, it all depends on the players and the coach's relationship. Like sometimes this does work, sometimes it doesn't. I don't really begrudge him in some ways, the coach, because it worked and they got like pretty far in the long run. So do I think there's maybe better ways to rage out that are more productive? Probably. But you know, for what it's worth, he seemed to have at least gotten their attention. And gotten things turned around. So as long as it, you know, if it motivates the team, then there are coaches who will tell you in other sports that they got mad. They weren't actually mad. They just faked it. They just raged out and smashed some stuff to try to motivate the team. Like that does happen too. So there's a whole lot of kind of schools of thought on that. But okay, I think we've watched enough raging for today. So we have 2 upcoming events to talk about that have some Pacific teams involved. We have the Red Bull Home Ground and the SOOP VALORANT League. So let's start with Red Bull, where we've got T1 who qualified through the APAC qualifier. How are we feeling about the chances here? blackenBlue, what do you think? What can T1 win this? Are you maybe? I don't know. How do you feel?
Ken, I will say that, remember last episode, I did think when we're talking about T1 or Genji, I'm kind of favoring T1 a bit more just because I'm a fanboy. But at the end of the day, I was still relatively unconvinced. Here, I remain the same. I do think that they are not the team to beat, but they are one of the challengers to the throne. Fnatic definitely have to be kind of the team that you're like, okay, immediately, let's look at them. And Heretics, obviously, those are the 2 teams that are probably like, you look at them and you think they're probably going to win this all. But I do think they have a good chance. I would say a top 3 finish. 4 is inevitable, for sure. Top 3, capable. Top 2, possible. Top 1, unlikely, but probable.
Okay.
Plausible,
okay.
rather.
Okay. What do we think is like their steepest competition here, Quack? Who's the favorite of home grounds?
Clearly, Fnatic and Heretics are up there, so I'm going to say it's them.
Aha. Fnatic and Heretics. Yep. I mean that's kind of I think the easy answer there. They should be relatively about as good as they were last year. What about Karmine Corp, Sleepy? What about Karmine Corp? They got Sadak, they've got Sugetsu.
Yeah.
This is a good team.
I was gonna say KC needs to be thrown into the pool of the top 4 contenders. It's just that again, with the trouble of a newly formed team, you kind of have to figure things out. But I do think KC's coaching staff have been phenomenal. They still got Eng, right? With Zaish, who's just recently announced extended his contract. Let's see the coach there.
Yeah, it's still Eng.
Yeah. So it's still Eng. So I love the dude. I've always respected Eng since the Gambit days. And he's proven himself to be very worthy of KC's trust this year. With the run at the start of the year. Obviously, they kind of fluttered off towards the end. But I think KC is going to be a top contender for this as well. Definitely a top 4. And if the question is related to T1... I am a believer, but I have to agree with Nico here. They haven't had, or rather, they haven't proven themselves in the international, versus the Western teams kind of style. So I would say it's going to be Heretics number 1. I'm going to throw in KC as number 2, and T1 number 3, Fnatic number 4.
Okay. I like it. I can get behind that. I'm leaning in a similar direction. I think probably Heretics is going to win.
Yeah,
maybe T1 second. I'm kind of feeling like they have slow starts as long as they can rebound. Like in the last couple events they played in, right? Like even in Gwangju Esports series, kind of a rough first map, and then they pretty much dominated the rest of the way. Same thing at Red Bull home grounds, like slow start, recovered pretty nicely, cruised pretty well. Any C9 believers out there?
I was about to say,
I don't know.
Any C9
That's-
believers?
That's what's fun, is because Rossi's on C9.
Yes.
Yes.
There's that.
A
There's
revenge
that,
time.
the revenge for Rossi. Yes. Is he going to get it? I mean, Rossi's cracked. Like individually, it cracked.
And he gets to like free up and vibe a lot more, I
You're
guess.
right. You're right.
Yes. It's a bit of a different atmosphere between a Korean organization and an American one, I suspect. So I hope it suits him better. I really wish Rossi the best. He looked really good at times, a lot of the times for T1 last year. So Oxy as well is out when he's at his best. He is maybe one of the most skilled mechanical players in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say Oxy's gotta be
Here's
the
a fun
highlight as
fact.
well.
for you all, a little fun fact. In
Let's go.
Cloud9, the only non-American player is Moose. He's Canadian. And the Moose
With
is
an apt name.
the Moose is the national symbol of Canada. Yes.
So he's
Oh my
representing
God.
Canada.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not the
Like-
maple leaf?
No,
Oh.
like in terms of like animals.
Animals.
Oh.
You know, like America, bald eagle.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I need
Dude,
to
he is a
fact
moose.
check. Let me see. Canada.
We're actually searching up.
This is where we're at. This is where we're at. I thought the maple leaf is like the overall symbol,
Like
but I
that's
think the moose
overall
is like,
symbol.
is it not like the
Okay.
Canadian
Oh.
goose is like their
Or
national
the
animal
beaver,
or something?
actually. I don't
Oh,
know.
that's
The
what Google
beaver?
told me.
The beaver.
Is it-
Like, yeah, Google's never wrong.
There you go.
Why is Canada known for moose? Because a good majority of the world's moose are in Canada,
There we have it.
and one of their players is too. So clearly, yes,
I'll
They've
take
got
it.
a-
I'll take it.
They've
Yes,
they've got a
Asia. Thank you,
stranglehold
Nico.
on
Here,
moose.
Smash that like and
From
subscribe.
the Canadian Encyclopedia, the moose is a national symbol of Canada and can be found in almost every province and territory.
Don't the
Nice.
like Mounties or like police ride on? No, they ride on horses.
What? They are
They're saying they're riding mooses?
Maybe I don't know.
That would
With
be
their Canadian
sick.
powers, right?
It would be
But-
pretty. It would be a power move.
importance to the moose, and then the moose are like, "I will follow you."
That'll be insane.
You know how
but-
big moose
Yo,
are, bro? Those things
they're
are
huge. They are massive,
I've
dude.
never seen one.
They're scary. They
are
will
pretty
wreck your
scary.
day, dude.
They will
Yeah.
destroy your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will take. Yeah, they're bigger than cars. Like they're massive animals.
Damn.
So okay, well, today we learned.
That was my intro.
What a yeah. Thanks. Well, fine, Black and Blue. You get to start with the Soup Valorant tournament. Then you have graced us with more of your obscure facts.
Well, are we jumping on soup? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, let's jump on Soup. Let's pivot to Soup. Soup
I'm excited
Valorant.
to see Myth for one.
Oh yeah, for
Ooh.
sure. Oh my
NRP.
baby,
Your
my
baby?
buddy, my best friend, CGRS. I miss him so much. I'm bummed that he didn't make Ascension, and finally we're gonna see him play on an international stage.
They were pretty sick for a Challengers Split 3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
because
I
of
thought they
that
would
weird
make it.
system, man. The double finals or double, I don't know what they call it, but
Yeah.
they won once. So that's gotta say something about them. So excited to see them again.
That'll be good. I mean, we get to see some of the teams that we're going to see at the Asia Invitational with Billy, Gen G, DRX.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of have a little bit of a repeat there. And then Talon, really curious to see what they keep cooking. Obviously, I think everybody knows now that Primi is actually a god. Like there's no doubt about his mechanical skill. Sentinels and NRG. I mean, there's a lot of hopium in Americas about those two teams. Sentinels obviously won when it was previously the Africa TV Valorant League last year. Now, obviously, they rebranded to SOOP, which, by the way, SOOP means forest in Korean, in case anybody cares.
Oh.
Oh
Yeah, so I don't know if that actually has anything to do with the name or not, but that is what the word soup means in Korean. It isn't soup like the food you eat.
So much nature in these
So much-
Korean
I know.
broadcast orgs like Africa, you know.
Yeah. So that actually came from, they told me this once. So I've worked with Africa for a long time. That's actually where I got my start in esports, was Africa.
Africa
Nice.
Freaks.
But it's like a free. It literally means like a free. And then Ka was maybe a Korean term or something. I can't remember, but it meant like it didn't mean like the country. It meant like a free thing. Like that was
I
more the actual
see.
reason behind it. I mean, I'm excited for NRG. I like Athan a lot. I think FNS is a great IGL, that kind of stuff. I don't know if they have the firepower. Maybe that's always the bigger concern. But
Mhm.
Sentinels should be good. They look good in their own event. I don't know what that means, but Narrate, really good player. Bang's always been really good for 100 Thieves. I have a lot of faith in that Sentinels team to run it back. Frankly, they might win. They might win back to back. They might win it.
Nice.
I think it's in Thailand this time, right?
It's in Seoul.
It's in Seoul.
Is it in Seoul? Oh, okay.
Yep.
It's in Seoul again. Oh, okay. Why did I think it was in Thailand? All right. Anyway,
They also
it's in Seoul.
They also have Rapid Lo-Fi, which is
Qualifying for Vietnam.
Yeah, which is a
Vietnam.
team that has a bunch of players who are kind of semi-active in the Vietnamese scene. They also have one of their managers and coaches is Neth the Noob, who's a pretty prolific on the online broadcast spectrum of social media. So that's a name that some of you might be familiar with, but they're not listed in Wikipedia though. They have a player like they're arguably their best and most experienced player is Jin. I'm not sure if he's going to be playing for this tournament, but he is listed under them, and he did play for Fancy United and also Alpha Esports, and this other team called Division X, really at the start of the VCT and SEA. So there's some experience there, but yeah, Vietnam's always been kind of a underdog region, to say the very least. I don't expect too much. It's nice to see a Vietnamese team in one of these bigger tournaments, though, that's for sure, because the only Vietnamese representation we get, for the most part, is like Crazy Guy, and he's obviously not anywhere right now.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah,
just
nice
scrolling through their results. Yeah, they took Naus to overtime on Sunset recently. So okay. There's some hope in that. Then they got destroyed on Haven, but that's okay. There's some hope there. Maybe they can do something. Maybe they can make a splash. Suko looks like he's pretty good. But yeah. All right. Well, I'll be curious to see how they fare. I mean, that's such a tall order for them though, going against the teams that are in the tournament. I mean,
Yeah, these names.
Whoa, there's some good players.
Yeah.
That'll be tough. And we get to see CJRS again, which is exciting. Yeah. Always a big fan. Okay. So I think that wraps up our current off-season affairs. And now we would like to bring on another guest, if she's ready. We have Victoria, live from wherever the heck she's at. Victoria, where are you?
Live from Berlin, Germany.
Woo!
It's Game Changers.
Yeah, Game Changers. Let's go. We've got boots on the ground at the Game Changers Championship, which is just wrapped up with yet another victory for Shopify. But let's kind of get your reactions to everything, Vic. How was GCC in Berlin? How is the vibes? How are things going over there?
It's cold and gray. A lot of us haven't seen sun in a long time because there's no sun here, but vibes are great. I think GCC it's sort of like Game Changers in our respective regions. It just doesn't feel like any other Valorant tournament, or I should say VCT tournament. It's got, I don't want to say it's like a community feel, but a lot more elevated. And when you just have a bunch of ladies together, it's, I don't know, energy is different in like the best of ways. It's very, they're less socially awkward, I think, and they're happy to like talk to each other. Yeah.
Okay. Wholesome?
I mean,
that's probably a good thing.
I love my franchise teams. I love my franchise players, but there's like a different kind of buzz. Everyone's just happy to be here. That's what it is. They're just so damn happy to be here. And as a talent, you really feel that. You see that. They're just honored to be there, even if they're taking it really seriously. Like, the way Shopify and G2 have often talked about approaching this with like, they're like, they said it, like, I'm not here to just compete in Game Changers. We're here to compete in VCT. So even with that, though, it's still a lot of good vibes. And then you just see these other teams coming in and meeting their heroes, and it might be Mel, it might be Mimi, it might be Floor, it might be Potter, who's just like walking around the lobby. So it's cool. It's just a really cool event, and one unlike any other VCT event.
Wow.
Awesome. Very good. Okay, so let's kind of break things down. Let's just start with how it ended, and then we'll kind of work our way back a little bit. Obviously, we have Shopify Rebellion winning yet again. What are our thoughts here on their entire tournament run? They don't drop a single map, so it went pretty well. Yeah, I'd say it went pretty good. Let's start with Quack here. Quack, what was your overall view of Shopify throughout this entire event, and how did they get to winning yet another championship?
Fluorescent.
That's it. That's the tweet.
Expert analysis.
That's all I got.
Not that I disagree.
Well, it's not just her, actually. I mean, you got like Noya, who's like really sick as well.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
for sure.
Second had a pretty funny tweet.
That's my wife.
That's my wife. Yeah. Oh my goodness!
Lovely.
Like she had an ace in the. Oh my, yeah! Just so many great moments from Shopify all throughout. Like you can really see the firepower that they have.
No doubt. And yeah, obviously Mel, tremendous IGL. I think just talking to her a couple times at international events when she's there, like, has one of the smartest minds for the game out there, no doubt about it. Victoria, what was going on like on the ground there with Shopify and their win? How are they feeling after it? I mean, we get to see the interviews. Obviously, Mel gets to be on stage this time. She doesn't have COVID. What was the feeling?
So first, I'm going to counter what Quack was saying about Floor, like definitely the flow show, like 100%. But MIBR had SRN, and there was a moment where the talent predictions, a lot of them I would say are just like because they like one team more than the other, which I'm all about that. I don't care. But my point is, a lot of them were like, man, I would love to see Mel be able to lift the trophy, but MIBR, a lot of them genuinely thought MIBR was going to win, just the way they were performing, especially SRN's performance. So I think they actually had a lot of good plans going in. They approached it really well, and they just knew how to counter a lot of what MIBR was doing. In terms of like how it felt on the ground, I was just going to say, like, Jelly, you've seen the content with Jelly. Jelly is genuinely like she's so sweet. Before the MIBR Xipto game, before they like conquered another Pacific team, they were passing in the hallway, and Jelly was just giving all of them a hug, and I don't know, it's just like such good friendly vibes. Asking permission, like, oh, do you mind if I touch you? Can I like hug you and everything? And she's just super friendly. The competition vibes here, it was pretty intense. I think there was a lot of confidence going into grand finals for both teams. You could really see that. Like MIBR was like on this lower bracket run high, and but Shopify, even during that coach's interview with Effie's, just looked super like relaxed about it. They were absolutely not feeling nervous about it at all, and just played their game. So yeah, I think grand finals though went way faster than expected. Mm-hmm. Whoever it is that you thought might have won, like a 3-0 was not genuinely like not what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I definitely expected Mibber to
take
the map there, right?
I thought, it was almost over.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the third
map was super close, yeah.
Almost OT until the last the almost ace.
Yeah.
Can I just shine some light on another player? Because I know everybody always looks at Flo, but for me, throughout this tournament, watching Shopify, and I wasn't rooting against them, but I'm a fan of the teams they're coming up against: MIBR, Xipto, G2, and so many times have I said to myself, the fucking dart from Sarah, oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, dude, so many good darts. I have to agree.
So many scans, so many darts. I think without her, they really wouldn't be enabled to do as much as they were able to do.
At least not as easily.
Not as easy, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And Alexis's util as well is spot on. Spot on.
No, I think in general, I think this GC this year, is sort of like it felt more like the team is what is the focus. Like whereas the previous years, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but in the previous years there were a lot of times a couple of names that we just look up to because they're just so damn good at the game. But as we progress to to today, now it feels like the teams are a bit more balanced, and we kind of see highlight moments from each and individual
Every
player.
player. We can
Yeah,
say that
every
for
player.
Xipto, especially, yeah.
Exactly. So it's not just the Ineri show. It's not just the floor show anymore. So I'm just happy that now it's really just about the teams. And obviously now Shopify Rebellion has been crowned the queens once again. They've proven that they're a better team. Despite MIBR being so sick. Obviously, I was kind of mad that they beat Xipto. But we gotta respect that they played the way they did. They actually played superb against us, and even against. I love how I say us when it's just Xipto.
No, us.
Bloodface is part of the team, but yeah, you know what I mean.
So I ran into. I don't know if this is like more of like a personal observation and less about the gameplay, but after the loss. So MIBR beat Zeta. The next night they beat Xipto. And then the night after that they beat G2. So I'm in the hotel lobby. A lot of the restaurants are closed. You guys know how these goes, like when the event ends really late. So we're eating in the hotel restaurant. G2 like declines doing any like next day interviews or anything. They need to get ready for Red Bull next. It's insane. They're doing back-to-back tournaments and they're just totally bummed. So they're having dinner there. Then I joined with the Xipto girls. I was Alexi and Ineri sitting there. And then like a little bit more awkwardly, MIBR is there also somewhere next to us. So we're all kind of in the same vicinity. One of the players, I probably shouldn't say who, but one of the players, she ends up getting like 3 shots of tequila in front of her. And I went over and I was like, man, that was like, that's wow. That's wait, I know it's been a rough night, but geez. So, because he's on the younger side, and then I went back to tell Alexi. She's like, "Oh, I like that drink." So I ended up connecting them, and they end up just like drinking back the loss, and then this bonding moment happened, and then they kind of opened up about it. I don't know if this happens I don't think it happens in tier 1 as much, like amongst the guys, to be honest. You see tiers and stuff, but it like kind of stays within their own team. So what ended up happening is a G2 player, and at some point emotions came out. She's like, man, we've worked so hard. I'm so sad about this. 11 months. And they do. Their schedule is like Talon's schedule, by the way. It's like 6 days a week minimum, like 10 hours. It's crazy how much these teams have been practicing. And then I see Alexi and Ineri, and then Tara comes down by then, and they're just like, they're comforting each other. And it was just like this really touching moment of like players supporting each other during like that feeling of loss that only another player would like really understand that level of competition. So again, it's just like a very different vibe here. I think the tier 1 players would support each other as well, but not the way that I've just witnessed tonight. But one thing for sure is like to your point, Sleepy, about all the teams leveling up. I 100% see it being so different now. How like individually they've gone better, as a team they've gone better, and it's because they put in the work. And you can tell which teams put in the work because we saw it. We saw it through that lower bracket run, like how well prepared they were. Obviously, like speaking to Alex as well, like he got really intrigued watching Game Changers as well, and just like the coaches need a lot of credit as well. Like there's a lot of really interesting set plays that are worth like franchise teams should be looking at watching this and like getting some tips on what the ideas that these teams are coming with. So I think that's really cool that it's been leveling on. There's a part of me, and I was talking about this with Potter as well, that kind of wanted the underdog to win just so there's like some sort of rotation. I don't want this to become league, like bleh, vomit. I don't want like the same 2 teams every fucking year. I kind of want to see that rotation. Like Game Changers is about opportunity to let like different players kind of like shine and experience like highest level of competition. So maybe there was like a bit of that, but I think MIBR was phenomenal. Or can we swear? I was about to say the F-bomb. I don't know.
We can.
You can swear.
Yes.
Fine.
YAP2ASIA is like F-bomb friendly.
That
But
is
yeah. Okay, great. Do you know 5 F-bombs were dropped in like 1 week in Game Changers by different players and in interviews? It's fucking funny. Anyway.
It was good, yes.
Yeah. Actually, on that, Mel said it on the desk. She said, yeah, she said it. There was one map they dropped, right? Early on. Just one map.
No, I don't think they
dropped any maps. Yeah,
there was one map they got pushed a bit. It wasn't the overtime one, but like early on, there's a map they were like a little bit worried, and then Mel was explaining a particular round, and she was like, and then we died like fucking dogs, and then she went, oh, this is like on the
Yo, she's been on analyst desks. There's no excuse.
No excuse.
Community dropped an F-bomb. I'm like outing all of them right now. But like it's so funny, and all we could do is like laugh about it. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a really, really fascinating experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
ZETA as well.
Are they gonna fire
Sorry?
her? What are they gonna do about it? Right? You qualified.
Yeah. I don't think Riot actually cares that much. Like they really don't. It doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
That's nothing. No one was kind of slapped it off. But yeah,
Nice.
I also have Tara's jersey. She gave this to me the night before, and I didn't think much about it, but she seemed really like this was important to her. And her jersey is important, but like there was a moment, and I didn't know because the next day she's gonna announce retiring, and I was like, oh my god.
The most prized possession you have right now, Vic.
Yeah.
The last jersey.
The last jersey
Given to
ever wear.
ChubbyNinja.
Damn.
I thought my bleed jersey was gonna be limited edition, but this one is the limited edition.
This one is
much.
Wait.
Yeah. Contraband.
Sorry.
I too have a bleed jersey, so yeah, I feel
Nice.
you.
I do too.
Limited edition.
I'm never getting rid of it. I'm keeping it. That is
They were
sentimental
giving
value.
those out at Ascension.
Yeah,
Tara
they were.
only gave out the one. So
Yeah. No, Tara's is way
Yeah.
cooler. There
Tara's
is
one is way
no
cooler.
comparison.
Nope.
No comparison.
So when is that going on eBay?
Oh,
Never.
well, name your price, Vic.
Yeah.
Oh, for what, Tara or bleed? I'm never getting rid of this.
Tara.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh,
Priceless.
man.
We were gonna start
Maybe.
trying.
She's becoming a businesswoman now. She's going back to her business. This
like the
young
green.
lady is a businesswoman. Maybe we'll figure something out. We'll figure something
Yeah,
out.
a preposition. Okay.
1 million
when you start a
daughter.
restaurant, you could put it up in your restaurant someday. You know.
Yeah.
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 She actually has a restaurant in Indonesia. That's like what she's going back to do.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yo.
do you
Makan
have the
to
name of it? Yeah,
Makan to
Makan to Asia.
Macantasia. I don't know if the name of it was Padang or if she was just saying it was a like Padang restaurant, but
Okay. We'll find out.
We'll
We'll
find
get
out,
it.
and it'll be considered on Macantasia.
Yes, it'll be on Makan to Asia, guys. Stay tuned.
We'll take a field trip there
Yes.
when I someday go to Indonesia. Someday. Okay, so I want to talk then just a little bit about our two Pacific teams that were at GCC. Let's start with Xipto. Was this the expected result for Xipto? Did they kind of end where we thought they did? Maybe did they underperform a little bit? Did we expect them to maybe this time push things a little bit further? I did have a round just to nerd out a little bit. I did want to look at a pistol round just to kind of give some flowers here to Xipto. I love pistol rounds. I think they're kind of the rounds that are most prep heavy for all of the games. So I really like the way they did this. So I like the setup they have here. And this kind of actually turns into their default for the first like half of their attacker side. I like the way they use the Cypher utility there over on the A side to keep track of what's going on. And they use that as kind of a go signal when they saw that Jelly was over on that side. They have some like good trades here. This is a really important moment that Kamiyu wins that jump out. But they're attacking from like a bunch of different angles, all coordinated together. This was something they did so well in this map throughout the entirety of it, where they were so coordinated with all of their retakes or their pushes. And then there's like a good trade here at the end. A little bit of a mistake there from Tara, but this is a good like kind of anti-flash play. Have one drop behind the box. Kamiyu gets two, and this was kind of like set the stage for all of this split where they were able to take a map off of MIBR. So I want to just give a little bit of little bit of a technical analysis to some really, really smart stuff. Like Vic was talking about earlier, like there's a lot that you can learn from the way that they play in GCC because it is extremely high level. But Xipto overall, thoughts, blackenBlue, Quack. We haven't heard from you in a while. Give me your impressions on Xipto.
Thank you guys. It was amazing.
Yeah, every player stepped up. Honestly, that's one of the
Yeah.
biggest things, right? In the past, like we mentioned, the whole Inari thing. Alexi is obviously a big name as well, but I think this event is where we really got to see, like, even Game Changer Pacific. Camille was kind of like ultimate support, but here she had one of those series where I think it was as the Fade, where she really like top
clutch after clutch.
Shirazi's
Holy.
has like that clutch gene as well. Like, dude, all of them.
So, if I could say something about that Pearl map that she was just like fragging out of her mind, and I think they carried forward through the bracket, was she has said in a previous interview, I was like, the double duelist comp back on Pearl with the Harbor. Like, how do you feel about that comp? She's like, I loved our double duelist comps, especially on Pearl. She's like, I just scan and then my duelists go in and kill. And it's so funny because then to watch her absolutely look at
destroy,
these stats are crazy.
She destroys everyone.
It was so funny. And she is not offended by the comparisons to Divide. She was like, is it because I look like him? She's like, straight up, she's like, is it because I was like, girl, you play it, like, maybe you would be like Divide's prettier sister, but also you play the same agents and you frag in your mind on Pearl. Like, you're absolutely phenomenal on Pearl. So I think there's more than one similarity there other than like potentially being related.
Loki, playstyle wise, they aren't super different either. Like, you know how like Divide just comes and pulls out like a huge flash or huge scan out of his ass out of nowhere that just somehow gets him a triple kill in like a 2v5. That's a lot of what Camu does as well. Like in the end, in that clip alone, like she gets a double trade at the end to get a triple just out of nowhere. So it's not unfounded here, the comparisons, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I think Camu's strength is in her positioning, to be honest, in a lot of the rounds, where she always finds herself in a safe enough position to trade her teammates. And that's how she gets all these like clutches, because she's done so well in making sure to be a good support so that, she stays in a safe position, she can safely throw out utility, and at the same time, she can safely trade after if her teammates need it, right? So props to Camille, man. I think this is one of the best games ever from her, and the best tournament, I guess, as well. So, looking forward to seeing more of Camille in the future.
She had a 98 econ rating on that Pearl. That's almost as good as it gets. That's crazy.
Trade.
Oh my god.
There's like a round somewhere, I think, like Tara saved her with a very well timed
the Cove, right? Yeah, I remember that. And then she clutched after that because she was saved by the Cove. So
Vic, how was Tara after she announced her retirement? Did you feel like did it seem like she was like kind of weight off her shoulders? Like, did you seem happier and more chill after?
In the interview,
she was a little bit tearful explaining the struggles that she faced, and the struggles was every single time. And this is, I think, the importance of going through competition. She felt stressed constantly. She was like, I was trying to handle like my family business. I was trying to like IGL. I was just trying to practice, work on my aim at the same time, and step up and be like the team needed me to be. So I think the amount of pressure she put on herself was immense. Like, she just felt so bad every single time that she wasn't as like the rest of the players are really fiery, right? Like with their aggressive play styles, they're just like playing this game around the clock. So Tara doesn't have as much time to. She just felt so bad. So by then, after like getting that off her chest, yes, complete weight off her shoulders. And by the next day, I saw the following day, just like, I just feel so relieved. I mean, I'm glad for this experience. It was a great experience, and like I've made so many new friends and so many memories. But oh my god, she has absolutely no intention of coming back to this. She's like, the weight is definitely like, I feel so free. She's just like, she looked like she like got out of prison. She's like, oh my god, I'm free. Like, that pressure is not there anymore. And some of the other, I think Kukuka said it. Another I think Dan Dry said too. Like a couple of the talents are like they were saying they could never compete. They're like, no, that the amount of pressure is like would kill them. So that I think that's what it was like for Tara. So also, despite you imagine having this kind of pressure going into the game every single time, and still performing like this, it's just kudos to her, and I'm glad she really appreciated like everything along the way. So yeah.
Nice.
Well, it was nice to see her, get to international global competition, because in her tweet, she mentioned it was more of like a long lost dream to compete again. So it almost seemed like she gave up on the dream, but then it came to her, like the opportunity to do so. And so obviously she couldn't say no. And I guess after tasting it once, she's like, okay, yeah, that's it for me. That's it for me.
Because she retired, right?
Yeah, she retired for a while.
She retired, and then she came back, and then, well, unfortunately now she retired again. But happy that she achieved her lost dream.
Yeah. It's like
That must feel good, man.
Speaking of dreams, I had a very weird dream.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Oh
Here we go.
Where's this going?
What is with you today?
I had a weird dream.
Just
like
go.
it was like
Dreams Asia.
the third to the last day of Game Changers, where in my dream I was literally dreaming about like Game Changers champs, like the stage and everything. I saw everybody. I saw like Ender. I saw everybody, the whole crew. I saw Xipto, the teams, but everybody was like Balenciaga version. Like those AI videos where they're all wearing like Google right now Harry Potter Balenciaga.
Oh, Valencia. Oh, okay.
Like when they're all everybody, the uniforms,
brand.
the fashion, the crew, the
shit,
audience.
alright.
The stage, everybody was
Damn!
watching.
Look at Hagrid, man. Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, and I woke up from that dream. I was like, because everybody was dressed up like that and looked like that, like super, model, face and all. I was like, that's crazy. What a dream.
What did Vic look like in your dream?
Oh, she wasn't there. Sorry.
Oh, damn!
Sorry, Vic.
Didn't make
Sorry,
the
Vic.
cut, Vic.
You didn't make the cut into the there, like that. Like, look at that. Look at that.
Oh my god. What
Wrong?
Rod? Oh god. Oh god, no, the Weasleys.
Is that Emma?
Oh boy.
Hermione? Oh, Snape.
Oh, okay. Snape's looking pretty badass. Well, not there, but
Severus Snape.
But yes, literally, that was my dream. Like with the zoom in, the dolly zoom. I think it fits. It fits Game Changers, no?
well, what?
Minnie was
Class
here.
does, I would say, yeah.
'Cause it's in Berlin.
Yeah, this is like the Berlin look, by the way. It's like there are moments where I coordinate on purpose with Wyatt just to like have that little bit of the edgy. I wasn't dressed how I normally was. I wanted to like change it up a bit. We went like a little darker, a little edgier. So Coach Minnie was around him and Sliggy. And he was like, he asked if Ender could dress him with like that deep cleavage, like a lot of chest, a lot of black, just to go along with the whole vibe. So we could have made your dreams come true.
Sad. Well, it happened in my head. That's fine. It's good enough for me.
Look,
Off of the
all
end.
I know is that Potter was wearing that sweater you sent me, Vic. That made my day. That was all I needed in life. All right.
Nice.
I'm not about that ballin'. Yeah. Yeah, the flames on their sweater. I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect.
No, I do remember seeing Vic actually wearing the in one of your pictures. You're wearing the APAC outfit, jacket thing, the leather jacket.
No.
Yep.
Like the rosé.
Hair as well.
Damn.
Dude, that song is being played everywhere in this country right now. All day, every day. It's insanity. Oh my god. I'm so sick of that song.
What song? Two.
This is the new baby shark at this point, right?
Awkward.
Yeah, you gotta do the awkward like hand dance. Yeah. All right. We got derailed by blackenBlue again.
Thanks.
Yep. As usual.
I'm sorry.
Let's talk about ZETA. Let's talk about our other team.
Konnichiwa!
All right. Yes. Let's talk about our Japanese representatives and almost a Cinderella story. Where do we fall on ZETA's performance here? I think there was a lot of I don't think a lot of expectations for this team coming into this event. And then they really played very, very well. Like the huge glow ups for these girls. They looked really good at times. Where do we fall on, you know, what this meant for Japanese, you know, the GC scene and everything? You know, I'll start with Vic on this one because obviously we have Suzu with her patented neon. Yes, the neon fingers was an excellent moment. I loved that. A+, no notes. But Vic, how about you? How do you feel?
Yeah, Zeta. I mean, you guys were all like, you saw how they performed in APAC, and they were good in APAC. A lot of really good macro, but you know, there was no like star duel. There's no floor. There's no SRN. There's no like Alexianary kind of like to me, their star wasn't even. It's not even necessarily their duelist, even though Suzu's like super experienced. So like a lot of us are looking at Akko and Moko, or even UR. So like we were like, Suzu is Radiant, the only solo ranked Radiant in Japan, but that's all we really said about her. So to see them step up, it was so funny because they just like, they were genuinely just, I don't know, we're happy to be here. Really like timid actually when first day I interviewed them. But then after the first game, they like loosened up a lot, and this is where you see their personality come out, and that reflected in their gameplay. They just didn't give a shit anymore. They're like, what do we have to lose? We're probably going to lose anyway. And then they won, and then they surprised themselves, like they won just by having fun. And then at the end of both of them, that they when they won, they're like, I didn't think we were going to win. And then they like, it's so funny because this is like early days Paper X when they're like, we're just here to have fun. I didn't think we're going to win. So it's like very much that same sort of vibe here. And I think that's all they need to do. They need to loosen up a bit. Yeah. Because again, some of the best macro from APAC for sure. And then even here, definitely like deserving the top 6. They just need to be confident in their aim and just have a fun process to see that happen. So MIBR, I guess I'm not entirely surprised that happened. Maybe in the fashion that it happened, I'm a bit surprised. But I think this is something that they can take and work on going into the next Game Changers. Like they have a really good foundation here, and they have some really great players. And this moment that you have on the screen right now is, iconic. I feel like these are the biggest power up.
It's been almost free. They've been able to flood in. Zeta each time have been hard onto that hard play.
It's so hard to hate this team. Like I don't even know if they have any heroes.
In the stadium during the 13-0, who's casting? Uber and Wyatt were casting this, and you know that we could hear the stadium. And every single round that they were losing, they made everyone here in Germany fall in love with them. I think they made like globally, everyone just fell in love with them. The other teams fell in love with them. And every single round they were losing, the audience was silent. And it's not for lack of support for MIBR, but it's just like, this is not how we wanted to see Zeta go down. So that was just like kind of really, really depressing in the stadium that day.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned, you know, the fact that they loosened up and then they started performing and then they started not caring, which is what I noticed when I was watching the grand finals between Zeta versus Xipto in Pacific. Because I have to say, man, if you rewatch that VOD right now, every time the camera pans to the Zeta players, it was tough. Like they were just really pressured, really stressed out, and I guess that kind of contributed to the result then. And then when they started to just have fun, it was insanely positive and impactful to their performance. And this goes to show that maybe it's just inexperience, maybe it's just the extra added pressure that they felt themselves that got in the way of them playing their best games.
100%. I think this is the only team in the top 6. Was it 6? Did they get 6th place? The only team in the top 6.
No. Yeah.
But it's been clear to me they have not figured out how to mentally bounce back after losing the first one. Like they absolutely have not reached that point yet, and I think that just comes with experience. You know, again, they didn't even think they'd get this far, so they probably didn't think they needed to think about this. But yeah, that was probably the one thing. If they could figure out a way to fix that mental going in, like, you know, I think they would have gone deeper. So yeah, but still, what a way to be what a championships run though for this team.
Oh yeah.
Everyone knows them. Everyone knows, like they're like you said, iconic now. So still pretty good.
In a way, they win at the end.
Yeah.
They don't go home empty-handed.
No, not at all. I mean, they made a splash. Man, if they had won one more match, I mean, I really think the hype would have been crazy. Like, absolutely, like similar to like ZETA Division at Reykjavik, like levels of hype. Like people, like you could feel it building on social media. Like I'm just doom scrolling. Oh, my camera died again. Just doom scrolling, Twitter, just reading everybody. Just since I'm pretty. Yeah, just reacting and wanting it so bad and everything. And it was a really cool moment, though. I really liked their personalities just watching it. Like, they were fun. Like you said, Vic, they were playing loose. They were having fun. They had nothing to lose. And that really, I think, endeared them to a lot of fans. And absolutely hope to see it more in the future. So, any other thoughts on ZETA?
Like, I saw a lot of reactions from, like, was it some of the Fennel players, like Harumi or someone, would tweet at the ZETA players, like, just supporting them and laughing at their performances and like the way that they're having fun, stuff like that. Like, I mean, Game Changers in Japan is actually one of the bigger scenes, I think, within Asia. And that's like so awesome to have. So if ZETA can like kind of inspire so many more players and like bring a lot more attention to Game Changers as well, that's freaking awesome. Now I'm just thinking about it, like, what was the Japanese casters' reactions to that Falcon Punch moment? I didn't think about it until now, but like,
I was watching it. It was Romy and I can't remember who was casting with her, but I know Romy because she comes to Pacific every once in a while. She's she does all the GC stuff in Japan. She's super cool, super nice. And they it's just it's kind of similar to Korean style, I would say, Japanese casting. So it's just kind of like, they kind of let go into the movement, but they didn't really laugh too much or anything. I think they kind of took it pretty seriously. But yeah, she's a very talented caster. Like, I've listened to some of her stuff, and she does a really good job.
I hope they would have like laughed at it.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
I think they were kind of understood like the situation. They laughed a little bit, I think, but they didn't like lose their heads like laughing like we might have. Like if we were casting it in Pacific, we probably would have just died.
Can I make a point about leaks? So,
yeah.
Like the plant or the.
We can cut it out if it's like not safe. I don't know.
Yeah, like, if it's not safe for work, we can get rid of it.
Like your plumbing.
I'll tell you guys like the details one, but to hint, if we look at how Valorant events work, VCT events work, they tend to cycle from region to region. Now let's see where championships have been going so far. We got Berlin. We got Brazil, went back to Berlin. That means Asia. And I think this is going to be really interesting, especially for teams like ZETA or Yeah. Southeast Asian teams should be very excited as well. So Korean teams definitely should be excited.
Yep. All right.
Yep.
Pacific number one. Let's go.
I'm just saying, I observed this from the trend. No one told me anything. It was just a trend.
Sure, Vic. Sure.
I'm sure you didn't talk to any writers or production during your stay at the entirety of the
No way.
They don't talk to me. Like, who am I? I'm just a little tad here.
Humble as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, to be fair, Riot does rotate regions every year. Like, they just do. Yeah. That is, they never have it in the same region twice in a row unless they have no other choice. Yeah. Like, that is 100%.
I will be happy for Asian time zones. So,
yeah, that makes a big difference.
Yeah. Oh my god,
such a big difference, right? We see it in Ascension. We see it in like regional events. It's just, oh my god, having in your region, big difference.
It's so nice. I mean, Asia, just like, especially when it's in Americas, just the worst. Just like you're staying up till like 8 a.m. watching these events live. Oh my god, just brutal.
We're going to Brazil. My god, like a lot of these teams have been to Brazil. I didn't get to go to Brazil. Did you go, Paperthin? I can't remember.
No, I didn't go. I didn't go to Lock-In. No.
Okay,
I did.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
I did for a week. We went there, 35-hour flight, and then we got knocked out first round.
You got Cloud9.
Damn.
and then we had to fly back.
That sounds
Yeah.
less than fun.
That it's really far
To say
for
the
us.
least. Yeah.
It's like really far for us.
Yeah, it was
And I
tough,
think,
man.
You know,
I don't
that
know.
journey is like it's rough. It's rough, and then
Rough.
having to jump into the competition. So
Yeah.
make them come over to our side.
Yes. See how you like it.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, so we got a little bit more to talk about with GC here before we wrap up. We do have a couple other former Pacific players who now play in China with Ginny and Muffin, who are on ALG for the competition. Didn't go super hot, obviously. Those two players formerly of the Full Sense Sapphire team and Money First previously, but Ambitious Legend Gaming GC didn't. You know, it was a rough event for them. Let's say that. Do we have thoughts on how that all went down for our two former Thai players? Well, they are still Thai, but our two former GC Pacific players.
It's a bit hard to say because definitely, like, you could tell probably language barrier is a big factor for them. But, you know, the way that they qualified is still pretty freaking awesome. And the fact that they, you know, used to play for APAC or Pacific, and then being on like the big stage there, meeting Xipto and everything, it must be like kind of nice. I saw like a lot of the social media posts where they're swapping jerseys and everything, having a blast. So yeah, maybe performance you could have, you know, wished for more, but other than that, still like still pretty happy.
I do wish they were actually able to play Xipto though. Like they play against Team Falcon and Giant X. So if they were actually able to match up against Xipto again, kind of be like, you know, for old time's sake, have a
Just
class
give us
of
one
what
more.
was, you know, SMG and X10 back then it would have been nice to see. But unfortunately,
And
but
Fly and Dodonut too. That would have been,
yeah.
you know, have her face up against the other Thai
Yeah.
player, Dodonut. They it's this team. Even though the players are really experienced individually, their roster is really young. It's only like 5 months old. They formed halfway through the season. So I think that's probably a big contributor. Also, the scene there is so tiny. It's so small, the Game Changers China scene.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be like EDG, where they kind of had like a little bit of a delayed start in a way.
Right.
And then China is going to do China things, which is like, I don't know what happens over there. It's like in the water. They suddenly like work their butts off and then they win the Champions Trophy. So I could see Game Changers China like happening the same way.
It's probably because of like what Alan talked about when he was here last time with the Game Changers scene, right? Where most of the year there's nothing, absolutely nothing happening in Game Changers, like for 9 months, and then they have like one qualifier tournament to send the team to champions, and that's it. So I'm not surprised that these teams kind of get formed super late. And it's just unfortunate because then you have so little time to actually prepare for international competition at the end of the day.
Need more Game Changers China competitions.
Yeah, if they can get at least a similar structure to what we have in Pacific, I think that would benefit them like infinitely better. So let's look forward to that.
So you guys know about their whole translation issue, right? I don't know how much of the desk you watch. Kind of the boring part.
Why do you say it like that?
Why
I don't know. No, it's like it's with the talents who are here. Some do watch Des in other regions, and some of them don't. So they're like, what? A couple have confessed, like, I've never watched Pacific Des. I'm like, well, it's your Des. Like, what the hell? But
screw you too.
It's mixed. Like some do definitely watch it. But anyway, 1HP was the translator between the Thai players and the Chinese players, and she would be translating in English, which is like the second language.
Oh,
so
God.
you can imagine the comms process in all of this. Like Talon Esports does the same. Like Cruz translates for like the English to Thai players, and they already kind of struggle with that. And to do that also here for like three languages. is insane. And on top of that, it was 1HP who had to step out in their last game because her wrists, like she was having like a wrist issue.
No.
So she's the one who stepped out. So you can imagine why things happen the way they did.
So how do they call?
So, I guess goal A is
Basic in-game
yeah.
Valorant comms. Default, rush, split, eco.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here.
All right. Yeah. Thanks. Anything else? Is there anything else we want to talk about? Any final thoughts on Game Changers? Let's do this. How about this? What do we want to see next year for Game Changers? What are our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions?
More of
Okay.
everything.
More.
Bigger
More.
venue, more teams, more crowd, more things.
I just have one question. Xipto's from our region. Tara is retiring. Who's replacing her?
That
Oh,
is
that's a good question.
Imagine Kohibi.
Oh my
Go
lord.
back in there. I don't know if that's happening.
Imagine. Well, that's I'm only mirroring what the comments are saying. Obviously,
true.
that is
It
unlikely.
will not be Kwaibi. I think that's a mutual thing that the chemistry just wasn't there. Just like
Yeah.
I think it's just pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they know yet. I don't think they know who's gonna fill that spot yet. I'm sure they're considering. They've been thinking about it. And honestly, they got the Indo connection. I'm sure they're gonna find some like correct player from Indonesia.
Yeah.
You guys just breed like amazing Valorant players. So I think they'll be okay. It'll be
Okay.
what I would really like to see is a Malaysian player. So if they could
Yeah.
find a Malaysian GC player, that would be pretty
Yumi.
epic actually.
That would be
'Cause
nice.
Divai can't be the only Malaysian player like, on the global stage. Like we need one
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna be changing a little bit. It might not necessarily be like 3 EMEA teams. That's always the question. Like how many teams does each region get? So Leo Faria, their whole event, they're definitely gonna try to restructure it so that maybe we could get even more representation
Nice.
from a particular region. So
Ooh,
I think that'll be
two China
good.
teams, huh?
Maybe a
EMEA.
Yumi. Maybe a
Sorry?
Yumi. She's like the only Malaysian player
So
playing
far,
in
yeah.
Game Changers
Yeah,
right now.
that's right.
That is
Right?
true.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know who's gonna end up taking that spot. There are options for sure. There are options. So
Yeah. But yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting because that's gonna be one tough shoe to fill. Just saying.
What's the import rule on Game Changers? Do you
There
know?
are no import rules, if I'm not mistaken, right? For Game Changers.
there might not be.
Yeah.
Even there's no age restriction. There might not be an
Yeah.
import rule.
That opens doors.
Yep. That would
It
be
does,
cool.
but it's hard. It's such a hard commitment because, as you know, Game Changers, the kind of backing you get in Game Changers is so different. So to make that commitment to move across the world,
Yeah.
but that would be cool.
That'd be cool.
I mean, Xipto Floor sounds nice. Cool.
Well, they need an IGL. Xipto Mel.
Mel?
I think
Yeah?
Mel would fit better. She got the Indo blood. Come on.
That's true.
And Emery needs an Indo duo, right? So
True.
yeah, that would be sick.
It's all coming together.
Isn't Flo like ethnically like Vietnamese or something?
Yes,
Yeah,
she's
I saw
Asian
that.
as well.
Dude, what is
She's
up with
also
all the Vietnamese Americans, man? They're all taking over Valorant. Tens, Marv,
Yeah.
Asu. No, I don't think Asu is Vietnamese. Is he?
He might be.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
You know what? Let me check right now.
Yeah.
This is like
We gotta check.
the
Move on,
VALORANT begins. begins.
He is half Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Oh, nailed it. Nailed it, Sleepy.
All right. Anyway.
Goodness.
But I think the Game Changers events, I think they need to continue existing for now.
For sure.
And honestly, I know the
Yep.
whole point of Game Changers is so that it can be phased out, right? If this is like a platform for a lot of, the women and marginalized genders to get this kind of experience, but in a weird way. Like I really enjoy this as a separate event. I
Different
almost
energy.
want it to, just to continue existing as its own brand. It's just a totally different vibe. I think the pressure is also different too. Some of them are indeed using this as a stepping stone to go into challengers, to go into potentially franchise. There are rumors about Floor and Evil Geniuses.
With that picture.
Yeah, that one. Potter did admit, she was like, I'm doing this as a troll pick, but they had Floor can easily like
easy.
slot into like a franchise team easily. But that said, I think separately as an event, it's sort of like Ascension. It's sort of like even I don't know, even just like community events, it's just got a very different feel. It's just so wholesome. All of it's so wholesome, and I wish it continues regardless, you know. So that's my hopes for Game Changers, is that it just becomes a mainstay.
I fully agree.
I think it should.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
It is a lot of fun.
Great to have. Yeah, it's great to have it. I there's no other way to say it. It's just truly great.
Girls are more fun on camera, like 100%. You guys know this. Like we all got charmed by like Gozen, G2 Gozen, when like Beanie and the rest of them were like working the camera. They're just so much more charming. And then I go back to franchise. You see like what's his, like I was gonna start naming names or like dear, like I don't know, they're so awkward and stuff.
Well,
They're nerds.
DX got better this year.
Well.
I mean, it's I mean, in general, I think the tier 1 players are a little more
unemployed.
Carefully.
Yeah. Like
trying to find the right word.
How did you get so good? I don't know. I'm a bum. I don't do it. I just
that was
play
so
the game.
funny.
Oh
my god!
I have no
spoke to all of like every gamer's hearts are like, yeah, that's Floor is me.
And also the shoulder content they do, like that suspect is the thing. Yeah, dude, I don't think that can ever happen in tier 1 league partnership. And so I feel like they just let loose when they let loose. So it's so fun.
Show me a tier 1 player bringing a portable bidet and talking about it.
Yeah,
on broadcast.
Yeah, no, never ever
being proud about it too.
Maybe I don't know who's the weirdest. Who's the weirdest player we have in like Pacific that might do that? I don't even know. Like I can't even think of. Maybe Stack.
I mean,
CGRS was there. He was
CGRS,
the fun guy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Benkai,
yeah, sure.
Benkai,
he was the face.
He does it on purpose to be like a troll, but an area that was like so genuine. He's just standing there. I have a video. Maybe I'll send it to you guys. So I think she's standing there with her bidet in the middle of like the lobby, the fan zone lobby. It's just like. Her phone's in one hand, her bidet's in the other. She's just like chatting so casually. And I'm like, is that your bidet in your hand? She's like, yeah. And then she starts taking it out again. It looks like a dildo. You see it come out, it looks like a dildo. And I'm like, what the frick is that? And then it's like, it's my bidet. And it's just like,
damn.
Wait, what are you holding?
Of course, my bidet.
He just casually.
Yeah, I bring it everywhere.
Oh my God.
When I'm in stress, I go to the toilet and then I have my bidet and I'm just happy I have my bidet.
Cuddles the bidet.
Yeah, this is the love of my life.
Don't steal it, she's gonna freak out.
I actually want one now because you look so happy with it. I'm like, is this all I need to improve my life?
Yeah.
I think it's quite amazing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
I'm public.
See that I relate to. I relate to the bidet. I don't relate to the gamer skills because I suck and they're great. I relate to the bidet because I'm Asian and I know how it feels to take a shit without one.
I think we all. I don't know, Clint.
I mean, I am converted. I am converted to the bidets.
I was gonna ask.
100%.
So we're all here accustomed to the bidet.
To washing your butt like a normal person. I think Game Changers coming to Asia will be great for all butts.
You know, the next time I go camping out in the woods, I'm gonna bring a bidet.
Yeah, I think we all should.
I'm not gonna rely on
That's it. We're done. I'm killing this podcast.
Honestly, I'm not ready for this road.
We have hit rock bottom for today. we have done it. Congrats. This is.
Did you say bottom?
Down. Yes, I did. Thank you for catching that. I appreciate you, Sleepy. Okay, but for real, I think we've done about all we can with this today. So thank you, Vic, so much for taking some time to sit down with us. We really appreciate it. I have no idea what time it is there. I imagine it's super early or early enough that, you know, after the night of an event, you're tired.
Yeah. You guys you're all talents. At these events, there's an after party.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's really early here, but for YAP2ASIA, it's because you guys.
Oh,
I will wake up.
Thank you, Vic.
And then I'm gonna go back to my bed.
You don't look hungover, at least. Have you had your coffee? Have you had your everything else?
I did have coffee. I don't think I'm too hungover. I was civilized. Yeah. Civilized.
Nice.
Those days we're going to talk off cam stories. So yeah.
Okay.
There we go. All right. That's the YAP2ASIA after party of our own, where we discuss what we can't discuss on air. Sleepy, Quack, blackenBlue, you boys rock. Thank you so much as always. And I am what I am sure is a hilarious picture of me since my camera died. Paperthin, which I mistakenly provided you with one.
Jwandi,
he's gonna
show the photo.
It's probably gonna be on this anyway, but Jwandi's gonna show us the photo. Vic, I'm pretty sure I've shown you this picture before, but this is
young
me at a young. This is a young Paperthin, a 19-year-old Paperthin with aspirations to be a rock star.
You are a rock star, Clinton.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's true.
He was a skater boy.
I'm a bald old man who's grumpy and tired, and I want my nap.
And you want your bidet.
I want my bidet.
All right, man.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I think we could. The picture, I'm sure I have much faith that it will be cropped into my camera picture. So yes. Yeah. All right. That is going to do it for episode 4 of YAP2ASIA. Thank you everybody for joining us, and don't worry, we will be back again because there's a couple off-season events that we are gonna be checking out. So later, everybody, take care.
See ya.